Watch me now. Watch me now. Watch me now. Everybody talk. I just get it done. Everybody talk. I just get it done.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first night of the attempted of the playoffs bracket. My name is Proto. Joining me, the man, the myth, the legend, none other than Cthulhu. How you doing tonight?
Doing pretty good, actually. Quite excited for the playoffs to kick things off. We already have our 4 teams that managed to qualify for the playoffs, and honestly, I'm quite excited to see who will be able to push themselves towards the grand final, and whether the unbeatable giants of in form of Warriors will be finally dethroned.
Oh, look, I think tonight's going to set the pace for the playoffs. It's going to be insane, but let's just delve into the nitty-gritty things before we start things off. As always, a little bit of a refresher. The season format, for anyone who is new tonight, it is the same as it has been for a while. 8 teams come into the group stage, only 4 come out to where we are currently in the semi-finals, so that is 1 week of best of 3s. Then we obviously go on to the grand final with the first and second and third and fourth playoff taking place on another stream. And speaking of our teams, we have 8 of them, some new, some old, some unfortunately no longer with us, Cthulhu.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we had quite a fairly big reshuffle at the beginning of this season. And with some of the newer names coming into the scene, some of the older names departing, and reforming some brand spanking new roster, what we did know for a fact as well, Warriors would usually stay true to their usual nature and will bring the top of the line performers. On the other hand, we did have quite a fair few new introductions. Triare Esports came into the play. Benchwarmers kind of reformed themselves. Verdicts with Big Brain Esports as well, seen a couple of new additions. So all across the board, fresh new talent has been poured into the Women's League. And look, honestly, I gotta say, I think to date, this has to be one of the most competitive seasons that we've had for a while, Proto.
Yeah, it has been really interesting to watch how it all has unfolded. But speaking of competitive, obviously there is something that these girls are fighting for at the end of the day. The prize pool. First place, Cthulhu, is going to walk away with their share of $1,500 from the $3,000 prize pool. Second is $1,000 and third is $500. Obviously, thank you very much to Ubisoft Australia for providing that one. But something new coming into the Women's League this season is the weekly best play, Cthulhu.
Exactly, yeah, look, the weekly best play does allow you to showcase your best moments, best plays, whether it's something goofy, whether it's something cool, whether it's just funny fails. And yeah, the best one will be able to get yourself a nice selected R6 chibi out of some of the more recent lines even as well, maybe even. And honestly, look, building up that sort of collection, I mean, it does make for a pretty neato decoration to your room as well.
Oh, even if you chuck them in the PC, I know I've seen some pretty sick setups. So make sure you get those clips in. All the information is on your screen currently, so make sure you sort that one out. If you hit something insane on the stream or you've hit something in this week of play, make sure you send that one in for your chance to win. So finally, before we get into the big hitting things, let's have a quick little look at the final standings going into the playoffs bracket. Cthulhu, obviously,
Absolutely.
We had a pretty insane season with Warriors. No surprise, finishing things off in first, undefeated again so far. And then obviously Vertex, Big Brain, Radical making their names as well in the top 4.
Yeah, look, I mean, I gotta say, I'm quite surprised with how some of the other teams as well managed to perform, albeit unfortunately for teams like Triaria, like Altered Edge and Vulpes, it was not particularly a successful season as it is, but still they managed to show us some formidable rounds, and there's still a really good showcase of the progression for themselves. On the side of Benchwarmers, look, they had some really big feats that they managed to pull off, namely the 4v5 victory over, I believe it was over Altered Edge.
Yes.
And yeah, albeit unfortunately at the end of it all, they couldn't really qualify for the top 4. But Radical Rebels, Big Brain Esports, and Vertex did manage to pull themselves up pretty well. And Vertex, namely, has managed to show us some really, really good performances.
Yeah, Vertex has been a really interesting team this season, provided the only loss that they have, I believe, is actually against Warriors. So,
Hmm.
going into this finals bracket, it's going to be interesting. Speaking of the bracket, let's have a quick little look at that. Obviously, for the playoffs,
Yes, sir.
4 teams are left standing. And our game tonight, as was already alluded to a little bit at the start, Warriors versus Radical Rebels is going to be the game for semifinals 1, which is what we're covering tonight. And then tomorrow, Panda and Spud are going to bring Vertex versus Big Brain. Then obviously it goes forward to the grand final and third place, depending on who wins. You know how it works. But I mean, we're starting things off pretty spicy here, Cthulhu, with the Warriors Radical game.
Absolutely. Yeah, look, a first place seed versus the fourth place seed. Look, certainly the odds are not particularly stacked in favor of Radical Rebels there, but it does pose kind of a good opportunity for an upset. I mean, Radical Rebels did manage to show us a fair few really good matches where they were able to, adjust on the go and were able to keep themselves pretty well afloat until certain small mistakes started occurring. So I'm feeling this is more so going to be kind of a trial of endurance for both of these teams. Whereas on the side of, Warriors, they're already pretty well accustomed as it stands to how it all goes. On the side of Radical Rebels, it is one of the first few appearances, I believe, in the playoffs bracket. And I mean, for themselves, they need to make sure that they're just nailing their own performance, that don't get into their own heads, because I think if they try to expand themselves a little bit further to try to even go for counterplay against Warriors, I think this is where they might come up a little bit short.
Yeah, I mean, making top 4 has been pretty big for them this season, especially going up against teams, as we already mentioned, like Triarai, like Altered Edge. It has been a really good season for them. So to see them in playoffs is really, really good. But speaking of these rosters, let's have a quick little look at both of the teams a little bit more in depth for tonight's matchup. Roster number 1, none other than the Warriors themselves, undefeated currently as this 5-player roster in the Women's League. And stats, I mean, they speak for themselves, Cthulhu. Everyone above 1.0, with some, like Time for Pi, busting out that 1.7 KD. I mean, these are some pretty stacked players for the Warriors.
A stacked roster, absolutely, with a number of players also being previously of the ye-old Elevate roster even as well in the first few seasons of Women's League. And honestly, yeah, each and one of them are a very able set of players, and I am quite keen to see how will this all play out, because again, KT, namely the big player that managed to even get herself a spot in a Challenger League team, that managed to actually perform and keep up really well with Altered Zelius roster as well. Honestly, with her experience coming back into Women's League as well, she brings a lot of value to the Warriors roster.
Indeed, and then obviously the other side of the card for tonight's matchup, the now Radical Rebels. They've had a little bit of a shuffle in terms of players, but the 5 for tonight's game: Mystique, Meeps, Aussie, Ash, Psycho, and Spartan. Some pretty good stats here as well from them, with subs Amezi and Allura, with the coach Demigod as well. I mean, they're going to have a decent chance as a top 4 team to at least do some damage to Warriors here tonight.
Oh yeah, I would 100% agree with you here, but the damage potential is certainly there for Radical Rebels, and namely, I gotta highlight Meeps and Psycho, the two players that have been performing pretty well. Psycho has been somewhat of a recent addition to the league, but overall, again, a very able roster. Still, it would be a bit of an uphill battle for them, but as it stands, they've shown great amount of flexibility in their performance, and that's what I'll be hoping to see from them tonight as well.
Well, obviously, all we can do is speculate. We're yet to get into the game, so we know the rosters, but where is this bout going to go down? It's a best-of-3 series, given that this is the semifinals bracket. So, in such capacity, our 3 maps for this evening: Bank, Villa, and then the decider being Oregon. So going to Bank first, Cthulhu, is there anything that you're speculating from both of these teams? I mean, we know that Warriors is undefeated so far in 2 seasons currently for Women's League. Bank is one we've seen from them before, and they get to start on the defense. What are we thinking?
Look, I'm gonna be real. Bank, I think, is going to be Warriors' map to take very, very convincingly. Given though it is, I believe, a map pick for Radical Rebels, absolutely admire their decision to bring the bank. But I believe we've already seen Warriors play out the bank, and it was something across the lines of a 7-1, 7-2 scoreline.
Yeah.
So it's not looking particularly too favorable for them. Plus, given the fact that again, KT's experience from Challenger League as well, seen quite a number of bank plays um, to to her strength as well. So uh, maybe whilst on defense, I could see RDC get themselves a nice point advantage. But after that, it is looking to be a little bit dangerous for them. Now going into the second map, that is Villa, and then possibly Oregon. There is an actually solid chance for RDC to actually put a dent in the reputation of Warriors. But again, in the form of the BO3, whilst yes, Warriors could afford losing a map, I don't think they are looking to lose the whole series.
Yeah, look, given that it's Warriors and how we know they play, it's going to be interesting to see what RDC can pull out of the bag. Bank, relatively new back into the map pool, fresh for this season, I believe, Cthulhu. But at the end of the day, Bank is one that we've seen before it was taken out and then subsequently put back in. So players from old will have some notability on how to play this map. But even saying that, RDC have definitely got the ability, I think, to have had some good time to strat this map. It has been out for pretty much the whole season. They've seen people play it. They've most likely, or at least I hope, they would have watched the Warriors play on the VOD, either on the YouTube or when it was live. So hopefully they've had some time to sort of counter strat that. But it is a very strat heavy map. And I think that, provided RDC have done their homework, we could probably see this one go the distance, albeit, as you said, Warriors 7-1 in the past, 7-0 in the past. It's a good map for them. They have the experience. They have those, seasoned year one players. I don't know. It is sort of difficult to sort of really tie down to a definitive answer, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it will very much kind of depend on how much of the actual homework has been put in and how much of an actual warm up and prep. Because whilst we talk about and hype up Warriors all the time, for Radical Rebels, it is very much dependent on how they're feeling on their play day. Because when we've seen their highs and we've seen their lows, on their highs, they can be a really scary team to play against. And it certainly could work in their favor really well to say even take Bank. And I will be very much pleasantly surprised if that does actually happen. But we've seen them as well when, just mental is in a gutter, but just tilt town all over the place. And it's just either those continuous 1v1 gunfights that do erupt that don't go their way, or it's just unfortunate mistiming. So here, yeah, it is just going to be just make sure to not get into your own heads. Don't try to not tilt as much as one can possibly be. And whilst obviously for us as casters, it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, I mean, when we even when we see talk to the players and see the interviews from some of the other leagues as well, a number of teams do say kind of, well, we don't even bother about our opponents as long as we have our own mental game sorted, as long as we have our own confidence all done and dusted, and we know that we can take those gunfights. All that is really needed. So I think that's basically going to be kind of the same need, the same call for RDC, because they know the basics. They know the basics, that they know where to go from there, and they have all the tool set and the toolkit in their hands. It's just more so about the know-how, and well, the know-how I would assume would come more so closer to the middle end of the round. Sorry, not the rounds. The match. And maybe then we'll see RDC. I reckon the initial momentum will be in the hands of Warriors, but then we'll slightly slow things down. That's probably my forecast for this one.
Oh yeah, I mean, we've seen Warriors be a pace-setting team game after game after game. I mean, season after season now is an interesting concept to wrap your head around, but they have been on the dominant end of things for pretty much 2 seasons in a row. They're undefeated. Their roster is arguably, as we've already mentioned, very, very stacked. Yes, we do hype them up, but there is a good reason for that.
Yeah.
They are undefeated for a reason. There is nothing else to it. But we now do finally have confirmation that the teams are ready. So we're going to be jumping straight on into Bank. As always, Cthulhu starting things off with the bans. I'm expecting probably more of a vanilla sort of section here. Most likely going to be the Thatcher Flores, Mira Valk, if I really had to put my money on some operators. But at the end of the day, I mean, anything can go.
I'm probably going to be holding my breath for Radical Rebels, because, yeah, with Warriors, I'm assuming, yeah, it is going to be a Thatcher ban for them, maybe a Mira later down the line. Actually, scratch all of that, it's a Jackal. Also, another operator that we kind of barely really talk about, given that it's kind of one of those operators that it's kind of understandable when we see them banned, but it's not necessarily a necessity to get them out of the equation. It's more so to adjust your own playstyle.
Wow. Really, really strong if used correctly. So not really surprising we see Warriors ban that out when they are starting on the defense of all sides. But it is going to be RDC to take down Cade and Thatcher. So pretty big combo to go. Now it just leaves the hands of Warriors. Do they want to leave Mira up or do they want to leave Valkyrie up? Now we have seen Valkyrie play from Warriors before, albeit a very good Valkyrie play as well. All in saying that though, Mira is, as we was about to say, very strong on Bank. So not surprising we've seen her let through here with Warriors starting on the defense. They're going to be looking for as many rounds as they can here with Mira on the board. Obviously, you've got the downstairs hold with Mira in the red hall. You even have possibility of putting Mira upstairs on the double wall out towards square. But they're starting in staff room open area with no Mira in sight.
Yeah, look, I mean, the Mira plays in open area actually could be quite pog. I'll definitely attest to that, because she's one of the operators that, yeah, whilst now she's much more counterable comparative to the old days where you couldn't even punch out the actual window. The setups and the way how Bank has been reshaped does allow for a really nice setup in the open area and kitchen, albeit it does force you to kind of expand a little bit further into the archives and Teller's office. But in saying that, it's still a solid site. Oddly enough, actually one of the few sites on Bank as well that would possibly require well, less of the vertical gameplay, albeit there is a breachable floor around the stock room. Shout out to Nuttery for highlighting that up.
Yes.
But apart from that, yeah, you look at from the top, there's not a whole lot of breachable floor, and yeah, presence from above is obviously going to be good for Time for Pi, but it's not a bare bones necessity kind of deal.
Yeah, I mean, an extension like this is something pretty common that you'll see for an open area hold, and I'm not surprised that we're seeing it from Warriors, albeit a bit of an unfortunate start here, as Psycho downs Time for Pi. Isn't going to be able to get the confirmation straight away, but the information is there that the mute is down, needs to be revived. The repel has been jumped off for the time being, so we could see an attempt to revive here, but it is going to be the repel from Skylight to finish that player off. No, actually, Psycho's going to be able to walk in and confirm that one herself, but in saying so, there is still one more player upstairs. So RDC, while finding that kill to start things off, have made a good dent in the hold from Warriors. They are, there we go, going to find the refrag. So things look a little bit better now. Even back up to 4-4.
Yeah, back to 4-4. Very heavy up front play, though, from Radical Rebels. Very coordinated kind of attempt to try to take both top and the ground floor. Albeit very much acknowledging that Ozzy could be an absolute menace with that magnified UMP-45. But as it stands, interestingly enough, Warriors decided to just completely fall back, not to take those gunfights at a face value, which isn't a bad idea either. And, well, the top floor has been completely forfeited. Now, the question being is, how quickly can they clear it out, though?
Yeah, I mean, there's only a minute 20 seconds left in play. They do have Hard Breach to play with, obviously Spartan and Aussie Ash both bringing that utility. But the one thing of note that is not being bought at the moment for RDC is any dedicated soft breach. There's no sledge, there are no breaching charges. So verticality over the top of open isn't going to be really very fruitful, other than obviously the 2 impact charges that is being bought by Mystique. They're not going to do too much. So, and with one now about to be used here, it's about, oh, that's unfortunate.
Oh,
that is rather
no.
unfortunate from Mystique. The castle not even going to get opened there. Only 40 seconds on the execute as well, Cthulhu. It's not looking good here.
Good amount of information still being gathered by Aussie Ash as well, and trying to find where exactly they need to push in. But yeah, with 30 seconds remaining, not a whole lot of time is being left for the actual movement. Still any sort of tangible ground to be taken, and yeah, this is looking to be a rather dire push here by Radical Rebels.
They got 20 seconds to play with Sab behind the shield. Support from downstairs. It is going to be Soy to open things up. Spartan to go first, but here comes Meeks. She's going to find one. Instantly traded back down, though. Possibly by a Frostmat, albeit flurry of kills. 3, in fact. Aussie with 2 and Soy for a second. And Warriors, even though they lose the first pick, they're going to find the opening round in their start of the semi-finals bracket.
Not bad. Good size. In all seriousness, it was a pretty decent hold there by Warriors. They kind of acknowledged that, hey, okay, well, probably we shouldn't, completely, waffle around and kind of run around as if it's almost like a team deathmatch. We have to be actually fully focused. And once they've been reminded that very thing, well, they managed to really bring it back to a really comfortable kind of setup. Again, the fact that it was the quote-unquote the tertiary side of the open area did certainly help their case. And given that for Radical Rebels, the whole lineup kind of more so looked towards like maybe top floor, maybe a little bit of even the basement contention. All the same though, unfortunately for themselves, they couldn't secure themselves the epic victory royale. And well, round 2 is now. The round 2 is now going to be upon us. Sorry, Nuttery is a little bit losing his mind there as well of the remarks. But regardless, do we reckon, just as I said that they're looking to get themselves all coordinated and all sorted, they bring out the Oryx and the Vigil. Do you reckon it's just a double down to the Rome?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting strategy. We do see, obviously, the open area hatch reinforced and the janitor hatch reinforced. So they're going to be looking to play for secondary positions. They actually also have Shiko reinforced, the single wall, and the lone office wall from downstairs. So they have a lot of off-site reinforcements to allow this roam. So there is going to be, I'd imagine, a pretty heavy emphasis on these 2 upstairs players. 3 actually upstairs players, as Aussie makes her way into open as well to make some vertical angles, or at least some footholds, with only 1 player currently sitting on site. So Garage is going to be a possible point of contention for IDC. Whether or not they figure that out for themselves is a different question, but time for fly! See you later, Aussie, on the Skylight. That is your 0 down in the first minute, and that is a great pick for the Warriors. It just, again, setting pace.
Ay. That's not the kind of way that you want to lose your 0 as well. The sheer abundance of the utility that usually comes out of that operator will be quite huge. But yeah, with him out of the play, yeah, a little bit of a unfortunate turn. But still, all the basic utility is still there to make the plays. But the way how they move around, Radical Rebels. With the drones are not yet there to find all those key positions, and I mean you look at the sheer amount of the angles being held, and RDC are trying to shuffle around, try to maybe find their own different point of contention, but it's all being checked at a face value, which is probably the most concerning thing of it all.
Yeah, I mean, something of highlight as well. We saw Warriors start that round off with a kill, and then instantly all of them disappeared back to secondary positions. They've now taken the contact, they've done the damage, and now they're falling back to their 3rd positions, which is obviously finally the site. In saying that, though, walking back up the main stairs, time for buy is good for Mystique, but Meeps is there for the trade, and still Warriors come out on top. 4 for 3 going into the last minute.
I mean, good way to shut down the Vigil at least, so... in the later stages of their round, they shouldn't really worry about at least one of the flankers, but Cripsty is still around, and she could absolutely put a dent into any sort of plans of RDC, but with her already being ready and prepared to swing their hatch, actually, as a matter of fact, oh my, that is a very aggressive position by Soy as well. It is looking to be, yet again, a very kind of last-moment, last-ditch effort, but... I'm very much questioning this position by Soy, but nobody is yet pressuring that position. Oh! Actually miscalculated. Crips T goes down.
Meeps. Great kill on the Crips T, evening things back out, but only 15 seconds left in play. They're going to have to do something. Spartan will take down Sav. 2 players left. Aussie and Soy need to make this happen. They've got the red pings and some information. Psycho to find one. Aussie on the hatch above trying to support, but the bomb going down elsewhere. Meeps needs to cover the teammate. Will be able to take the Jaeger down. Damage has been dealt. The red pings are there. They're down through the wall and confirm.
No way.
Aussie has good information. They know that the bomb was planted in the back of the other bomb site, and she's going to have to go for the drop. Spartan on the diffuser. The pings are there as well to play with. 30 seconds. The angle held, though. Could this prove to be the undoing of this? The wall bangs. The time. I think it's going to be a factor here, Cthulhu. There's not much left to play with. Aussie's going to have to get aggressive. Only 10 left. Flashbangs.
Oh, this is not looking good, not looking good. In comes the swing, no. Pre-fire. No, not good at all. Spartan does manage to hold on her own, but oh man, that was a little bit scrappy there from RDC. But look, a round win is a round win nonetheless, and that was a good beginning to kind of kick off that sort of rivalry in the early stages of the map as well.
I mean, 1-1 trade is really good. It also shows as well that RDC have been doing their homework. I mean, that was one of the more standard bomb sites that you see on Bank. And when you compare that to their open take, they definitely seemed more concise on what they wanted to do, even in the deficit going into the end of that round. I mean, in 15 seconds, they pretty much evened things out, got the bomb down, you know, had the angles covered. It was really well done by them. When you compare that to the open push, though, you saw where there were the gaps. You know, they didn't have the right operators. They didn't make the swap in the attacker 6 pick. And then during the round, they were just sort of flustered as to, well, you know, what are we pushing? How are we doing it? And it's understandable. As you said, it is that tertiary site. It's one you don't commonly see as much, provided that, you know, you just go back and forth between one site sometimes, like we're seeing now, the second attempt at downstairs for Warriors. So it's good to see RDC have done their homework on the more mainstream bomb sites. And I honestly think that we're in for a good match, provided that they can keep that up throughout the remainder of these rounds, because that start round for the previous was just insane from Warriors. Those 2 picks, I mean, that roam was really good. So,
yeah. I think it is going to be another question about kind of the pacing of the Warriors and trying to get a bit of a better read, maybe a slightly more of a lean towards the info gathering utility, maybe even something like an introduction of something across the lines of a Legion, maybe already to kind of serve as that kind of the bootleg motion sensor, I guess you could call it. But yeah, no, it definitely looked pretty well organized with what Radical Rebels definitely wanted, and it's definitely good to see. But I mean, it didn't really change. The interesting thing is that between round 1 and 2, the lineup of the operators didn't particularly change. So, question for me mainly being that, were they initially expecting the downstairs hold? Because now we're going into the third round, the third iteration of the defense of Warriors. And again, the only slight difference that we are seeing as being made is just Psycho introducing a Twitch.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the Yana, it's probably not really a big swap, provided you lose the frag grenades. But I mean, the gain of smokes as well as the drones are a pretty big thing for how RDC have been playing these rounds. In saying this, though, half the round has been spent droning out and getting into the building, and nothing has yet to come of it for either team. No frags, no damage, and no real utility cleared just yet. But for RDC, I mean, they're a team that like to take their time. They like to play off the information that they have. So having this ledge upstairs, I'd imagine possibly looking to play that vertical, work in with that extra utility they're bringing along from the 0. I mean, things are looking good. We've got some good positions from Warriors. RDC are setting themselves up well. But it is going to come down again to the last minute before they actually start to make their way in.
Interestingly enough, we're already still seeing the Vigil of Time for Pyre playing actually on the bottom landing of the main stairs, no longer trying to go for any of those top floor shenanigans, which is quite cool to see. But yeah, like you pointed out, not a whole lot of time really being given, so it's very much of a kind of a coin toss. You either get lucky and manage to nail a really good push, or you luck out and get completely shut down. Aussie picking up that kill onto Mystique, that is a big driving force in form of Zafia, completely out of the equation.
Definitely is. Mystique with that LMG could have been big, but unfortunately on cams for the remainder of this round, 25 seconds left. It is coming down to more of this 20-second meta play that we haven't seen for a while. It's made a bit of a resurgence in the coming season. So Going to see how that pans out, but some damage dealt, not a frag, only 15 left in play, and RDC have to make their move towards the site. We've got 2 going to service. Soy's going to be there to greet them. A lot of damage dealt. Will actually find the kill on Ameeps. Can she find Psycho as well? No, she can't. Psycho for the trade. Time for Pi to find Spartan. Psycho goes down, and Ash on the drop. Aussie's there to collect the Warriors. They fire up with pretty much almost a flawless round for themselves, and that is going to be the second on the board for them. Round number 4, Cthulhu. It's getting spicy already.
Yeah. Look, absolutely full send spice is being handed out here left, right, and center between the two teams. But this was a perfect demonstration of what happens if you basically don't leave yourself a whole lot of room for error and not leave yourself with a whole lot of time for that push, and kind of a far cry from the old the 20-second meta where even within PL, teams would spend pretty much 90% of the time to get themselves all set up to drain all of the utility, to only then get themselves only a singular chance to actually go in for the push, which was an absolutely unforgiving meta, and only a number of teams were able to nail that sort of play where the rest of the teams kind of just ended up leaving things to a chance. Now, something that has been slowly kind of drifting away, and well, we have been seeing a little bit more heavier lean towards the flexibility of the attacking side, and namely the attacker repick. We haven't really seen a whole lot of that coming out from RDC, which, generally speaking, I mean, you look at CL, you look at Nationals as well, it is a feature that has allowed a number of teams to readjust their play to kind of cater their attack a little bit more to what the defenders are bringing in.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it used a lot in those leagues that you already mentioned. I mean, it is arguably one of the most important pieces of utility that the attackers have now, provided that the defense can no longer use the 6-pick function. So it does have to be locked in from the get-go. So, seeing the lack of use there from RDC is a little bit questionable, provided that it is, I would arguably say, pretty broken. Because you can completely change your lineup. There is no reveal phase anymore either, so the defense have no clue what you're bringing, even initially. But it's been working out for them so far. They've been doing really good damage with the lineup they're bringing, so they're obviously confident in what they have from the start, and they think that they can deal with it. I mean, with the iteration of Sledge now that they're bringing, they do pretty much have every base covered, so you can't really fault them too much for the misuse of or the complete lack of use of that 6-pick. But I mean, still, maybe you'd like to see a couple of things change up, maybe an IQ for the Echo or something along the lines of that. But speaking of the round, half the round spent, again, a bit of a late walk-in, but this is going to be the first kill from Meeps onto Soy, I believe, from Skylight Repel.
Yeah, that was from the Skylight Repel, a perfect angle to be found, and a good punisher as well to the way how New Zealand Warriors were trying to play, so that is definitely good to see. Another gunfight. Unfortunately, this time it doesn't go into the hands of Meeps, but interestingly enough, Time Pie actually doesn't know that the down has happened, so a good pickup should really happen, so it's all good and fine for RDC. But as it stands, yeah, look, a slightly better performance, but again, being unable to make a foothold around those main stairs would echo later down the line, but a good set of angles still being held by RDC, and this whole takeoff of the tellers could serve as a good kind of base point.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the opening kill, as I say that, Sav to at least equalize. Some good damage dealt there by Sled. The time for Pi on the cross to hold her teammate's position. Meeps to go down. Aussie to also pitch in and find Spartan. It's now all up to the remaining player, Psycho. Time for Pi for a second on a Mystique. And very quickly, this round took a turn for the worse for RDC. Psycho, the last alive on the Yana. Has the utility, has the gun to make it happen, but with only 25 seconds in play, no diffuser in hand, it is going to be a relatively tall ask. Does a lot of damage to Aussie. Almost the down there, but with the angles being held by the whole team towards this position, I think it is going to be a little bit of a stat pad session here, unless Psycho can go absolutely insane. She finds the second. Can she find the second and the third? Could go for the Echo. Will spot the head, but looks away. Crips T there to lock it down, but arguably that was close from Psycho.
Well, as it stands, a bit of an unfortunate result there for Radical Rebels, as Warriors already managed to extend their lead by a 2-pointer. We could see maybe a good return to form once Radical Rebels do go into the defense. So as long as they are able to at least find themselves at least one more point to make it a 4-2 scoreline, they could really make a good return to form, albeit again, Bank being one of those maps that we don't, generally speaking, frequently see even in Women's League. It does serve a very kind of niche purpose, and I'm a little bit questioning whether that niche purpose was there for Radical Rebels or whether it's at the moment against Radical Rebels, because the Warriors are looking a little bit strong. Maybe if we would have seen actually RDC take Warriors to something like Skyscraper, I would have actually been kind of keen to see, because that would have tilted the odds very heavily into RDC's favor.
Yeah, even about like Theme Park. I mean, I know Theme Park has been in the pool before in its current iteration, but I mean, it is a map that is still really yet to be fully fleshed out by a lot of teams. In saying that, though, you know, pretty much any map we've seen the Warriors play in the last 2 seasons has gone in their favor. So, I mean, there's that. But at the end of the day, yeah, RDC are definitely a team that has the tools for the job, provided Mystique finding a kill like that onto Aussie. I mean, what a way to start the round in meeting from the site window. What a shot. I don't even think she saw Castle there.
Yeah, look, I mean, a good pre-fire nonetheless, though, and still a good frag to find. Aussie has been an absolute thorn in the side of RDC, so getting her out of the equation will make things nice and snappy. Could possibly see ourselves with that second point to be acquired right here, right now, in round number 5. But again, Cripsy is in such a difficult position to keep herself, to keep on being wedged out, so her actually being able to run away. This is perfect timing. Phones will be ringing out, and, well, as it stands, again, not a whole lot of emphasis. Yes, they managed to find that early frag, but they are not really trying to take any extra ground off the back of that frag, which is probably the most concerning bit of it all, and something that maybe could be added to the drawing board of Radical Rebels later down the line. Because, I mean, like, look at this. These kind of rotations should not have been allowed for Crips T like this in such a free manner.
I mean, even in saying this, Warriors, a team that we usually see make adaptations mid-game, change up the... I mean, we've seen this Skylight Repel 3 rounds now, and we're yet to see anything done about it. I mean, allowing RDC to lock down pretty much the entire main lobby and top Catwalk Banana side is just not what Warriors want to be doing. They've found themselves in a 4 versus 4 with Crips opening things up onto Psycho. Meeps doing more damage to herself with the launcher there than she's done to anyone else. Will spot out Crips though on the long angle. That's a second from this window. Unfortunately not traded out there by Sav, and things are not looking too good for the Warriors at the moment. The dwindling player count into the dying seconds of this round, 30 seconds Cthulhu. It's not looking great for Warriors.
Yeah. This is, in fact, so far looking much nicer. Soy's phone keeps on ringing out. All the positions have been found. Soy does nail a nice shot onto Mystique, though, making it a 3v1. Now, as long as she can play for time, this could be good, but Spartan will be planting right behind the bomb chassis, so this should be much more workable now. All the covers are there. We know that Meeps is quite clean on the shots, and indeed she will be nailing the frag onto Soy, so that's the second point now in the hands of Radical Rebels. And on the attack of Bank, I think this might just be that bare minimum that they've achieved, but obviously, push for 3 is still there on the horizon.
Yeah, 3-3 half would actually be pretty big here for RDC, provided that, you know, Warriors don't win another one. 4-2 is going to be the shout for them. At the end of the day, though, I mean, this map, I can't really say that it is one-sided or the other way. I mean, so far it's relatively 50-50 between these two teams at the moment. While Warriors did sort of dictate that pace after that sort of second, third round, RDC have done pretty well to attempt to at least mitigate that in some degree. They have sort of slowed things down. They've brought it back to where they're comfortable. I mean, Mystique finding that kill through the wall in the start of that round onto one of the top fraggers for, you know, Warriors was probably not the greatest start round for them in the previous, but I mean, even in saying that, RDC, yes, they were slow off it, but they capitalized on it in the end, and that is really good. We have seen the first 6 pick, though, here from Aussie Ash, the Dokkaebi being traded out for the Lion. which is something interesting. But I honestly rate it, given the roam we've seen from Warriors on this top floor. This is probably going to be a really good pick here for RDC.
Absolutely. Quite keen to see how will Lion really play into the hand of RDC, purely for the fact that it does kind of lean a little bit more into kind of more of a momentum-based kind of push off the back of the very pick. So keen to see how will Lion be able to slot into the whole swing of things and into the play. Apart from that, I'm looking at the whole setup of Crips T. She could still have a fair bit of ground to really work around. As soon as those E1D charges will be drained, we could see a really good, well, open play by the Oryx player.
Yeah, provided that they can find an opening in here or something along the lines of that. But there's actually a lot of bodies inside of main. The Gon 6 is going to come out early from Psycho here, paired with the line scan as well. They might be making a quick play down main. Crips T doesn't seem too aware that there is a player close by, just around the corner at the bottom of her stairs. And yeah, no, Psycho and Mystique to open things up. They've dropped straight down the main hatch. There they are inside a vault right now, looking to get this bomb down. They've got players set up for the entry, but it's unfortunately going to be the downing of the Hibana, trying to get this res. Meeps is there to find time for Pi, and very quickly Aussie, while she may have been the first down in the last round, she is last alive currently. The bomb being planted. The cross is there. Aussie to find Spartan. Needs to find more, though. Four still alive. He's not even going to get the chance. Psycho there for a second. And RDC, they're going to keep the half relatively even with a 3-3 split.
Well, yeah, look, this is a much better scoreline here for RDC. And yeah, catching Warriors off guard by that rush actually would have pretty much actually done all the right needed job there for RDC. A formidable scoreline already from the get-go, which does kind of allude us to a possibility of a really closely contested scoreline for the remainder of Bank. And look, yeah, well, we were talking about RDC needing to put in, you know, the effort and the homework. It seems like, well, plenty of homework has been brought in.
Yeah, I mean, just the counter-stratting from them on the attack. I mean, yeah, we didn't see much in terms of operator diversity on their attacking side, but they just didn't need it. We didn't see Warriors switch things up. Mira wasn't played once on the sites that she is arguably her strongest. And I mean, you know, those really extensive roams that we saw from them ultimately in that last round, that rush just absolutely crippled the defense. And that, I honestly think we saw RDC there after those first couple of rounds just make the changes they needed to make and start doing big damage. I mean, we didn't see any iteration of an adaptive play from Warriors in that defense. And that might sort of hint towards the fact that they're feeling pretty comfortable going into this, but in saying that, comfort is not something that they should be relying on, given that this is the semi-finals match, or at least the first of possibility of two.
Yeah, I think, well, you are to at least to a certain point correct here, Proto, with the comfort talk, because whilst, yes, if they, say, for example, do lose out on a map, it won't be too crippling yet, as there's still at least one more map to be played out. So there's still a possibility at a comeback. There's still a possibility at, you know, making the big swing happen. But yeah, it will very much be heavily dependent on what is going to be the kind of the end result of it all. And we'll have to wait and see if there's anything that is actually going to come out of that one. But honestly, with all things considered, Soy managing to find a kill onto Spartan, this does keep things nice and snappy.
Yeah, I mean, the trades back and forth have been pretty decent this whole match from both teams, so there's good respectability in there. But I mean, the players that they're losing, the trades haven't been as quick as we've seen previously from Warriors, at least, which could be sort of the reason why we've seen them come to the deficit that they're at. But this map, traditionally, people would argue, is more attacker-sided. So we'll see how the Warriors go on their attack. It is their first round on attack here. They're already making the vertical plays that we didn't see too much of from RDC. All saying that, though, they are going to be more fruitful when they are actually brought out. So to find Aussie her second in the round, actually. In saying this, though, what an angle. That was filthy. Is that the FMG from Psycho? I think that was through the wall. Someone was holding main stairs through a dirty angle. It might have been Meeps. That's gross.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
That's gross.
Yeah. But it would work actually pretty well
Yeah.
into the general narrative where for RDC, look, at this point, they like we said, they have the toolkit. Now they just need to get to using it. And certainly, I mean, that will be one hell of a way to start using it. And all the more to it, all the cards in their hand to really try to make the best of it all. And I mean, the possibility of just that very convincing defense is, well, it's a growing thing, and as it stands, Aussie Ash and Spartan already, well, being found as a trade for Soy and Crips. This is good.
That's not good, though. The smoke missing its mark. It's going to allow the plant from Aussie. They do have the hatch covered with the Candelas as well, so the retake's going to be difficult here, at least for the start, but Mystique's still upstairs, going to make the play into open. They don't know each other's there. Mystique's got the information on the sound, but the play, it's not quite there. She's going to come with the kill, though. That's 2. So Sav has, unfortunately, perished at this time, but it's a 3 versus 2. Aussie has the information that this player is still upstairs, going to come down for blue for the play, but she's going to allow him to get a little bit close. Will find the castle, though. The trade is there, 19 seconds on the clock. Psycho and Meeps need to get this defused, but provided the situation where the bomb is at, it's not looking great. 11 seconds on the clock. They've officially run out of time. It is all just for frags now. Aussie for 1. Can she find the second? Pistol in hand for the buck. No kills, unfortunately. Go for the buck!
Oh, no. Oh, man.
Just
Pain.
can't hit a shot. Had to reload the pain as well. That is living in Spain without the ass.
Oh, my.
Good post plant from Warriors, though. The whole player off site, killing everyone upstairs. But, you know, we take those.
Absolutely, yeah, we do, in fact, take those. But, yeah, look, unfortunate result there is probably the only way to really describe it all and how things really transpired there for RDC. They started off pretty well. I gotta give them that. That initial pacing on the defense was really, really clean. Really well played, but alas, well, the rest of the performance didn't particularly align there, all things considered. We could possibly see ourselves in a rather, well, peculiar kind of setup where we could be seeing maybe later down the line a good kind of change of things, change of swing of things, really. Maybe around 9, but as it stands, I mean, for Radical Rebels, they almost had it. Maybe now in a reiteration of the site might be able to nail it and find themselves that 4th point as well.
But yeah, that was really close from them on that bottom floor. You know, had Mystique maybe found that extra kill top blue, I definitely would have seen that round going in favour of the Rebels, but at the end of the day, unfortunately, it didn't quite tilt in their favour and Warriors walked away with it. But in saying so, again, highlights how ready RDC are for this. The homework has definitely been done. They know what they want to do. They've changed things up here, though, the Warriors on attack. They're bringing the Osa this time and going straight in server. They're in. There's no real contestation. The wall's opened up. They're inside. They have really good control already. Clearing out utility. I'd imagine the bomb is soon to follow. Soy to find the first onto Mystique. Soy to find the second onto Spartan. The bomb going down already. RDC now have to play retake really quick into this round, but this is the rush that we didn't quite see from RDC. The smoke to come out. Time to play there. As Meeps is actually the one taking the brunt of that toxic gas from her teammate. And yeah, this round's pretty much as good as over. The drop shot from Pi as well. 30 seconds left to play with. Psycho has the info in the down and the confirmation, but I think it's over Cthulhu.
Yeah, look, I suppose the Warriors decided to give a little bit of a taste of their own medicine to Radical Rebels after that sort of a rush that they managed to perform previously. Unfortunate that it did go down the way it did, but look, it is what it is, and still a valiant effort to try to maybe go for a retake, but again, the time already been drained. Psycho is the last player standing. No retinas, no players, no teammates, no time either. So it's all just compounding losses there for Radical Rebels, and I think maybe this is where we're going to be seeing Vodafone Warriors put the foot down and kind of close out the bank, despite the fact that, look, they certainly, I would imagine, were not prepared for the ferocity that RDC brought in.
I mean, the sheer amount of bite that have been in RDC's strategies. I mean, in both attack clears and so far in the defense. Yes, that last round, let's be honest, wasn't the greatest showing in terms of holding onto the bomb site. But the round previous, yes, it came down to the post plant. In saying that, though, it was really, really close. I mean, it was a 2v2, and with plenty of time left in play, had they hit their shots or, had the flank gone off on the top floor, we could definitely be seeing this as a 4-4. But that last round was definitely more patent-pending Warriors than what we've been seeing so far from them. The aggression was there, the pace setting was there, and everything else that we expect from them was arguably there. They had the site within, the first 30 seconds. Really good drone work, by the way, highlight there. I believe it was the Aussie on the drone. Either way, someone called that out. And then it was ultimately immediately capitalized on. But again, that's the adaptive play we see from Warriors. That's what we expect from them. And it worked out for them in the end. But in saying so, RDC, it's only 3-5. It's only 2 rounds. It's not match point yet. They still have a lot to play with. With this pulse in play, things are going to be difficult here for the top floor take.
Yeah, quite curious how will Oziash be able to utilize the pulse and the utility in her hands, plus the C4 as well. Could be rather making an explosive play already. The information is certainly there. So could be seeing a quick change of pace here. The moment we're going to be seeing the entry, I say that Meeps, phenomenal opener right onto Crips T. That's the big performer out of the equation, but albeit unfortunately for Meeps, well, she got traded out rather quickly by Time for Pi, but at the expense of half HP of the buck.
I mean, good damage dealt. They do still have one player on the top floor, which is Mystique, but as she's battling on all angles, she's going to walk away. Not going to play for the drone to take out that information, but they don't arguably really need to. They have the pulse still up, so they've got the advantage in terms of knowledge, but that's one C4 from the pulse to come out, so no more explosive utility in the hands of Aussie, and ultimately no more cardiac sensor either, as Soy finally puts her to bed, so that utility is now taken along with it. Second Nitro to come out, no more explosivo left for RDC, and not really too much to prove from it either. No kills, no damage. So Warriors, with all the verticality they want in the world available to them, they're going to have a relatively easy time opening up this site and getting themselves ready to execute.
Very coordinated push by the remainder of Vodafone Warriors as well. Very synchronized push, which could mean that an absolute flood of the players could happen later down the line directly onto the site. Time for Pi looking to find her own openings from up above now that, well, Pulse is no more, Meeps is no more, so it's all down to a very kind of anchor-heavy lineup of RDC's roster, or rather remains of that roster. So, question being whether this offside position by the pardon me, Castle would be able to pay off, because otherwise this is just, look at the sheer amount of just open floor there, just ready to be shot at through.
They've got good angles. I mean, positionally, Warriors are looking really good to close this out, provided they can get in and start planting that bomb. They have their rotates covered, Sav holding that down, but they do still have players inside of the site they have to deal with. Time for Pi is going to be punching that castle down. She's going to be met by 2 players immediately. With 15 seconds left, it's going to have to be the vault in and the plant. Will be the drop. Time for Pi to go down to Psycho. The first Candela to come out, and looking the wrong way, Mystique punished. And Psycho as well. Oh, up to Aussie. The bomb has to be stuck. Indeed, it will be, but the player to her left, Mystique, is there to finish things out. And RDC, as we were talking, positional advantage trumps all in the end. It's going to be 4-5.
That was a clean deal. Well, I was just about to be a doubter about the way how RDC were looking to play this out, but no, this actually worked out perfectly well into their hands. And yeah, look, the rest is basically history with the way how they managed to push it on. 4-5 scoreline now, making this a much more of a closer venture between the two rosters. As look, they are certainly, well, it certainly does show that Warriors kind of coming into this with a little bit more of a kind of a wing it attitude, more than anything else.
Possibly strat saving, maybe. You never know. Could be the case. I doubt it, but it's a possibility. At the end of the day, Kapula. I mean, the constant Ying pick from Warriors is an interesting one, but it is sort of more of a highlight of that resurgence of the 20-second meta. She is really strong in that time frame. Smokes, Candelas, big gun, definitely gets the job done, but pushing down the stairs instead of holding the cross there was ultimately, I think, the undoing for them in that last couple of seconds, unfortunately. So very well read into by RDC. They just patiently waited, and ultimately that's all they had to do. They found the player coming in through the double door from square, found the vault in through the window, found the supporting player on white, and then ultimately the planter was all that was left. And it was really, really well done from them in that iteration of open area. In saying this, though, top floor now is going to be where they head off to for round number 10. And Warriors, we've already seen them do some good work on this top floor side. So the question now is, can RDC get themselves to equalise, or can Warriors put themselves on match point?
There are certain possibilities of that, absolutely. I'll 100% have to agree with you here, Proto, that there are chances in doing so. But look, main question being is whether Warriors will be able to find any sort of resurgence in their own kind of play. Question being, though, is, well, how well are they prepared for any sort of play like this? And, well, with Sav already taking some initial damage, this isn't looking particularly too favorable for the potential of the push. Albeit Cripsty with the Finca could certainly, well, pretty much change the pace of the battle really, really well and really quickly. But I mean, again, we've seen kind of those turnarounds happen very rapidly.
Yeah, this is really good here from Warriors, clearing out that mute jammer. Unfortunately, the nade missing, or at least the first nade. They do still have one to play with. Hopefully that'll get the mute jammer for them, but no, it's actually going to miss. So all that effort is going to be, for nothing for Warriors here, unfortunately. They have done a lot of damage to Meeps, so that is something of note, especially with Crips T on the Finca. They do have some information, some heals, rather, should I say. But with the Candelas is now, I believe, being burned to try and get rid of this mute jammer. They missed again. It's not going in their favor at all. That one missed too, Cthulhu. This mute jammer is unkillable, with Spartan taking down Aussie now as well. It might just be a force up the main stairs. They might just completely give up on this venture. I mean... Oh, it is.
It's at the moment just, looking a little bit dire. Oh, no. Spartan has the drop, has the play. No, unfortunately can't hit the shot. Cripsty is a little bit too crisp on that play. Cripsty again finds the kill into Mystique. Aussie Ash falls. Warriors are looking like they're just about to wrap it all up into the match point for themselves, because it's all down to Meeps and Psycho. Meeps is offside. Psycho is the only player there ready to take it. And oh man, this is dire. This is bad.
Unfortunate Nitro there for Meeps. The bomb going down now for Sav. Psycho, the only person close to the site that can attempt to stop this plant, but not quite going to spot the planter, unfortunately, in the time that she had left available. A team kill there from Pi. Sav will find Psycho, but Meeps is there for Sawyer. 1v2 is definitely doable in the situation. The MP5K is definitely a formidable weapon with the 1.5. 30 seconds in play is enough time to get the job done. Is going to go for the flank towards Banana. Needs to take the one and win it here against Sav, but looking the wrong way. Ying's going to swing on round. Warriors are going to lock themselves in for match point on map number 1. Albeit really close there from RDC again.
Oh yeah. Much closer of a performance. RDC is certainly showing that they are very much keen and prepared for this kind of gameplay, this kind of style. But look, unfortunately, it did go down ultimately to the reaction speed and the mechanical performance of both parties. And unfortunately for Radical Rebels, Warriors just a little bit more so over-prepared, maybe even in this kind of game. Now, Locus and CCTV room could possibly be our final round, or possibly could be the beginning of where Radical Rebels could start their own comeback series. But given that how much ease Warriors were able to just flat out rush directly onto the site, I'm not holding my breath just yet.
Yeah, the iteration of Capcan here for RDC is a good one, provided that it may not necessarily do as much damage against a seasoned team like the Warriors. The fact that they have to take the time to both check and then remove said Capcan trap is, damaging in itself if there's enough of them available. And now that you can put all of your Capcan traps on one door if you so please, You could put, one on one side, one on the other side, and still do some damage. It's all mind games now, really, with Capcan. So, provided that there you go, all three on one door for Spartan. But yeah, the Warriors, I mean, it is really hard to say at the moment with Thulu. It has been relatively even, or at least close in these rounds. So hopefully the Warriors have learnt their lesson going into what could possibly be the final round here. But in saying such, RDC, they have been doing phenomenally.
Absolutely, yeah. Gotta give him the commendation. No matter what the end result is, it has been a really just good preparation for themselves. Unfortunately, though, that opening kill does not instill a whole lot of hope. Again, the not enough of the information. The denial is there. Meeps, whilst yes, she does pick up a frag onto the Zafia, unfortunately straight away traded out by Soy. And yeah, well, only 3 frags remain for Warriors to lock themselves in. The 7th point, yeah, look, good stack of the Capcan traps. That's all I'm going to say.
A little bit of point farming there for Sav. What is it, 25 per Capcan trap or something? 10 per Capcan trap? Either way, whatever it is, point farming nonetheless on the Ying. But 2 big kills to find. I mean, the Capcan and the Oryx to go are pretty decent kills, especially now that the only denial utility that is available for RDC is going to be Psycho on those smokes. And, I mean, that is it. So, at the end of the day, if Warriors can get themselves into that post-plant position again, I wouldn't be surprised if we see them close it out here. But we see a little bit of a better spread from RDC this time. We've got the player inside of CC, but they also have server presence now, which is going to be a lot more beneficial for them going into the latter parts of these rounds. Yes, there's only a minute in play, but with that spread, I mean, they did it before Cthulhu.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, 110%. They did it before, or they've done it before, rather. And absolutely, I reckon Warriors still might have the ability to bring the momentum in their hands. But, oh, that frag by Mystique could actually be a big deal breaker. Having that sort of position completely unchecked, it could end up being that very much bane of existence that you mentioned as well, Proto. And yeah, look at this, how stalled out Warriors are all of a sudden.
Well, they do have utility, Candelas and grenades to try and clear this player out. It will be the Candela, though, that is the choice of utility. Will be completely blind, and Sav is there to clean that kill up. With only 2 toxic canisters for Psycho, with not much in terms of denial left, but there's definitely enough to at least keep Warriors out for the time being. The Habana charges, though, used to open the wall. It's not going to be quick enough. Aussie's going to have to go in for the plant. Psycho's going to hear this. The smoke, unfortunately, not going to connect, though. The bomb is going to go down, and again, it's going to be a post-plant. With Warriors in positional advantage, Aussie to find the first kill onto Aussie Ash, and now Psycho all alone in the 1 versus 2, as the player is downed, completely blinded though. Cthulhu, I think it's going to be a pretty quick wrap-up here for the Warriors on that one.
I mean, we've said that a number of times about some of the other rounds as well, and it was RDC that came in rather big, so I wouldn't call it just yet, albeit, yeah, this is looking to be rather a decisive manner. 13 seconds remaining. Not a whole lot of options have been left, and certainly not looking too pleasant. Yeah, Soy is the one to wrap it all up, and yeah, there it is, a GG on the map number 1. We still have at least 1 more to find and to see who will be the one to grab the victory in our first BO3 of our playoffs.
Look, I mean, for the first map of the evening, provided that it is Bank of all maps to go to, I mean, hats off, first of all, to RDC. They may not have come out with the map victory, but I mean, a lot of those rounds were very, very close. I mean, they got them down to 2v1s, 2v2s, 3v4s. They actually even won one of the 3v4s on the bottom floor. So, I mean, the showing from RDC there was just phenomenal on Bank. But ultimately, the Warriors, they're going to keep that streak going of undefeated. 7-4, or at least for now anyway, map 1 is going to go in their favour. But I mean, as you said, Cthulhu, there is still a possibility of 2 more, provided how map 2 goes. But in saying such, I mean, RDC have had actually a pretty decent start.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it has been a really decent start. They managed to keep a hold of this sort of momentum play really, really well. And I mean, that sort of pacing from them has been a genuinely formidable kind of thing. So, look, I definitely think that going into a bit more conventional set of maps now will be a little bit of an easier time, but I don't think either of those teams are out of this yet.
No, especially going into Villa. I mean, Villa is a map that is just so strat. You can play it both ways. You can play it strat heavy. You can play it as a frag heavy map. More of that rank style aggression. And I mean, that is where teams like RDC are going to get that edge. They're going to have that ability to just sort of send it on a team that is very structured, like Warriors. And I mean, I honestly think we're going to be in for a very close second map, possibly even a third, provided that RDC can make the changes we saw them already making. I mean, the cogs were definitely turning towards the second half of Bank there. I mean, some really good changes were made and some really good just adaptions all throughout that map were there. And they were so close to walking away with so many more rounds. But at the end of the day, the Warriors, more clean, a little bit more polished in terms of the post plants as well. A lot of bomb plants actually from Warriors. Another highlight point there for them. But at the end of the day, Bank was really good. Before we kick off to the break, Cthulhu, final thoughts for Map 1.
Final thoughts for Map 1 is, honestly, look, I definitely have to say that I think Warriors did not expect this kind of preparation from RDC, and it definitely did take them by that surprise, which has been a very pleasant showcase, honestly, from RDC, and something that I'll say with full confidence, I did not expect this kind of turnout, but in a very pleasant surprise. Look, whilst unfortunately for themselves they couldn't acquire the end result and for the Map 1 to go their way, I reckon we still got a really close Villa on our hands.
You heard it, the man himself. We will find out how Villa's going to play out after this very short break. Don't go anywhere. Go hydrate yourself, and we will return shortly.
Watch me now. Watch me now. Watch me now. Everybody talk. I just get it done. Everybody talk. I just get it done.
Gentlemen, we are back from our short break. We are here, Map 1, 7-4 to the Warriors on Bank, going into the second of the evening. Villa. Cthulhu, what are we thinking? Anything notable going into this second map?
Look, I gotta say, RDC coming into this very well prepared, albeit unfortunately, the scoreline is not yet there for them to acquire the dub, but I reckon they could still absolutely push this to a whole new limit. Now, Villa, it kind of has the possibility of just playing out like a double-edged sword. On one hand, you have the map that it is one of the more kind of familiar maps for RDC. This is a map that, obviously, whether they wanted it or not, they've played it out in the regular season. And going into this one, it should be essentially making it so that they would feel a little bit more comfortable. Now, the reason why it's a double-edged sword is that it's also a comfortable ground for Warriors as well. So, for Warriors, obviously, they already know the strats, they know the setups, they know the general pacing of the game, and something that could end up biting back at Radical Rebels. So, ideally, well, for RDC on defense, they would want to push this to a 4-2 scoreline, albeit it will be very much of an uphill battle. 3-3 is probably a little bit more realistic. But in saying so, majority points need to be gathered on the defense here by them, because otherwise attack against the defense of Warriors, it is going to be a bit of a scary prospect, not going to lie.
Oh, look, I mean, given what we saw from Bank already, I mean, the 3-3 half with Warriors starting on arguably the better of the two sides' defense, and for it to come, 3-3, 50-50, it was really impressive from RDC. But in saying this, going into Villa, a map that definitely favours roams as opposed to sort of that more attacking style, because the map is huge. There is three floors, the basement, all manner of types of rotates, 3 staircases, etc., etc., etc. So RDC have cut themselves a little bit of slack by picking the defense first here. Obviously, this is Warriors map pick for number 2. Given that, you would sort of imagine that Warriors are looking to want to make this one their map. But given RDC have taken that defense, given that we saw them take it to 3-3 on bank and then get one more on their defense side, I actually think we're going to be in for a pretty spicy map number 2 here, Cthulhu.
Absolutely, yeah. Look, there are absolutely the point as to that very case. There are absolutely possibilities for the for close contests and score lines as well to happen. So I'm very much keen to see what could happen. And well, off we do go into the Villa itself, a map that look, on a personal note, I still very much despise and hate in any shape or form. But in form of a competitive map, it is a very well designed one, and does allow you to flex a plethora of different playstyles.
Yeah, it really has made its way into the bog standard competitive R6 map. It's up there with the Oregon. It's up there with the Clubhouse. It has become one of the more played maps in the competitive R6 pool. So in saying that, not really surprised that we're seeing it this evening, with Oregon being our third map as well if we do see it, albeit this is the Decider. Warriors lead with 1. So RDC, everything is on the line for them here. Everything to lose going into this second map, provided that they can make something happen here and take it to that third. I'm honestly expecting a good contestation from them here. But starting out, as always, with the bans, Thatcher to go first. I'd imagine we'll probably see the Valkyrie taken out again, Cthulhu, but at this point, I don't even know. We saw Jackal ban last time. Will he go again here from Warriors?
I'm somewhat tempted to actually say that Jackal could really come out here. Yeah, there it is. Purely for the fact that, again, it was something that I kind of bad guess. A reoccurring idea for even the bank. And bank, well, comparative to Villa, does, like, in certain situations, does allow you to play a very similar playstyle. So with Jackal out of the equation, with Valkyrie out of the equation, that flexibility is kind of being a little bit cut short. So possibility for a bit more of a conventional play, plus with Cade now banned out, does signal for the fact that, once again, Mira will be on board, but are we going to see the Spaniard being picked? Now that's a whole different can of worms, and something that could be even just completely ignored by both of the parties. Albeit, I say this, Mira on Villa is a much brighter prospect than Mira on Bank.
Yeah, there's plenty more opportunity for her as well. I mean, she can be played pretty much on any site in positions for extensions, whether it's on the site, a little bit of an extra fly over there, just in case, a bit of a late departure from our plane. Albeit, Mira is an operator that I would have expected to see here, given that she was allowed through straight away off the bat from RDC, given how strong she is. Yes, her recent nerf has made her that little bit less potent, but in saying that, you still have to get close enough to the mirror to actually melee it. So provided someone plays the mirror properly, they're not going to be, in theory, able to get that close. In saying that, we haven't seen the mirror board out. Teams have adapted to play without her really well, provided that, she was banned pretty much, 90% of the time in competitive R6, so it's not surprising that we don't see her bought that much anymore at all, given that she just was learned to live without when the banning sort of mechanic was introduced to competitive Siege. So, albeit we may or may not see her on Villa here. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't. We didn't see her on Bank, so I guess we'll see.
Imagine just if Mira was an actual, full-on real character. So, we just learned to live without you. Just that.
See ya.
Just L operator. Situation, just everything else for the Spaniard, despite the loadout itself is actually being quite potent. But regardless, maybe in the later stages we could be seeing this. I am liking the idea of bringing in the Aruni plus the Capcan, which does allow for that passive kind of slowdown, and the play by Aussie Ash to kick things off. Oh man, that is a clean position to play off.
Indeed it is. Soy going to be one of the big fraggers as well for he's taken off early with Meeps chipping in to take down time for Pi as well, and New Zealand Warriors on the sides of these trades not looking great, but walking down the main stairs. Aussie Ash is going to take a bit of damage, swinging around for the 180, can't quite find the kill. Meeps for 2, Sav will find at least 1 for compensation, but only 2 players left alive for Warriors, and RDC have had an amazing start for their first round on Villa so far.
Yeah, look, that's a really clinical beginning here to the first round of Villa, especially given the fact that this is a Warriors pick. Feels a little bit curious to me with as to what is happening, or maybe it's just the Warriors being caught off guard. Well, I have to wait and see, because Sav is still, I mean, has half of HP for herself. There's still full HP for Crips, so I mean, there are ways to dislodge it, but it is going to be quite a gargantuan effort to do so.
Yeah, it's going to be a big ask here with only 50 seconds left. Meeps for 3. It is now all in the hands of Crips T, who has actually made it onto the site and is going to be good for the first. Can find more, but no, Spartans there to close that premise down. And RDC for round number 1. They're going to walk away with it pretty convincingly.
Very nicely done by Spartan and Co. being able to just keep up that sort of pressure, keep up denying that advancement by RDC, which basically meant that, well, not by for RDC, for Warriors, pardon me. But yeah, Warriors just started all across the line and couldn't find really any sort of opener for themselves. And well, when it came down to really needing to perform well, unfortunately, none of that performance was really found. So good start. Now, well, basically for RDC, they need to continue that sort of string of rounds for themselves to keep up that sort of pressure. And if they're able to build up a good round buffer for themselves, this could mean a whole lot of really big, almost red flags for Warriors as well.
I mean, just the way that we saw the trades coming out from RDC on main stairs, the bait and switch, I think some would call it, with the cover from Meeps as well inside of that, inside of Living. I mean, there was no real crossfire set up by Warriors. They didn't have enough control to, make that worth holding. But in saying so, Spartan outside, an interesting spawn peak possibility here. 5 players close by. The vault up, that's actually one I haven't seen in a while there. And I'm surprised that they actually went for that. But the aggression here seems to have definitely switched, as I say, in favour of RDC. But with the first kill this time going in favour of the Warriors. The Warriors? The Warriors. I mean, some damage was dealt, but with Thinker on the board, Sav's going to be healed up to most of her HP. So not really a huge loss for them.
Absolutely. Oh, calm before the storm as it is for now. Between the two rosters, we could be seeing ourselves at a precipice of yet another set of solid pushes. With Meeps, though, out of the equation, that leaves not a whole lot of flexibility in the hands of RDC, which means locking them down in those singular positions could be a potent way for Warriors to reset themselves on the scoreline back into the plate. I mean, I say this, Aussie Ash has a very difficult to wedge out position. That is, unless frag grenades will start flying. And I mean, 2 sets of frags are there in the hands of Warriors, and still very much could do quite a lot of work.
Yeah, the Warriors bring a lineup that can deal with pretty much anything put towards them. So he will spot the head of Aussie Ash. Unfortunately, not quite hitting it at the moment. Will be droned out as well now, and the Candelas start to fly. The player deep inside a bathroom, Sav, looking to spearhead this push all the way through, but the kill is going to be on Soy's end. We'll take down that Astro player, and RDC start to dwindle. 3 versus 5 coming into the final minute, and the push starting to look good here from Warriors.
Absolutely, indeed, it will be. Sav already picking up a double kill for herself, finding yet another opener, and now leaves all down to Psycho and Mystique. Mystique does get them down, but now left all alone as Psycho does get, well, taken out as well. Plant begins. Time for Pie now downed as well. Well, in comes the yet another LMG swing. What can you do? Well, it seems just nailed a headshot, it seems, but, well, an overly ambitious swing will not be leaving any more options for the RDC players. Means that, well, 1-1 scoreline is now upon us yet again, Proto.
We said it in Bank, and I'm going to say it again. At the moment, it is looking very back and forth from the start, from the get-go. RDC, you know, they made those changes mid-game. We've seen them bust out a little bit more of an aggressive play style here on Villa, but again, it's a map that is more accommodating towards that style of play. And it's against a team that you definitely want to be having that sort of style of play. If you can dictate the pace of play against a team like Warriors, you know, setting yourself up for good round deficits and play deficits at end rounds, RDC have definitely got the tools to do the job here. But Warriors, as we've already said multiple times, remain undefeated for a reason, so they're going to be looking to do their best to at least not let that happen. In saying such, though, RDC, I mean, round 1 in their favour, round 2 wasn't as close as round 1. But in saying so, I do imagine that this is going to be a relatively even Villa, just based off of these 2 rounds and what we saw from them on Bank as well. I mean, it is shaping up to be a great series of Rainbow Six and a very, very high level of standard set for our first semi-finals game.
Absolutely. I definitely think that RDC here have still a really good chance to just absolutely take it to Warriors and absolutely shut things down as much as one could shut it down. But again, look, I mean, do we expect the sort of shutdown play to actually happen? Because Vodafone Warriors, especially in the final few rounds of Bank, we seen them to kind of step it up on a whole new level. Now, with Meeps' roam here, again, whilst admirable that she wants to go onto that solo play, there needs to be some sort of a backup, whether it's a camera, whether it's some sort of extra passive utility, whether it's just another player roaming around, because that sort of play for Crossfire could be pretty much the day and night difference. And for players like RDC, where you know, taking those gunfights in a 1v1 kind of style is not particularly advised, something would need to be very much kept very mindful about. But it seems, at least for now, Meeps is all safe. I say that the creeping up menace of the Time for Pi with the LMG is ready to roll.
Oh, through the wall as well. Mistake to go down, but the trade could be here from Meeps, provided she isn't found. It is going to be indeed there, but Sab off the screen is going to find Aussie, and Aussie Ash, should I say. Things for RDC, still doable. They do still have that roam presence. They do still have some good site presence as well. With Frost in play, things are going to be difficult in terms of getting into the master bedroom here, but I mean, they haven't yet also been able to clear the wall from down below. And losing that player down below, things have been made a lot more difficult here. But in saying this, Aussie is going to get downed, but 2 kills very quickly from the rest of the Warriors to make things a little bit easier. Nitro onto default's not going to connect for Meeps. And they are going to be able to get this res off onto Aussie. And the bomb, I would imagine, very soon to go down. Indeed it is. Crips T getting that one off. Adrenal Surge and 40 seconds Cthulhu to post plant again, with Warriors getting another bomb down.
Once again, yeah, it's all off the back of that pressure with the bomb, and yeah, look, perfect read there, perfect play, and the angle, absolutely disgusting one at it. Finding the knees and the shins of the Kapkan Soy will be the one to shut things down. Now, look, Warriors, they seem to be finally nailing their pacing here on Villa, given that it took them a moment to, you know, figure out where to go, how to go about it, and at the end of it, they were able to close it all out. But it's that methodical kind of approach to, they have that one kind of that one route that they stick to. They clear it out completely. They don't even bother to really extend any further to, you know, try to eliminate a whole lot of roamers. And as long as that route leads them to getting a plant and to the actual site, that's all they care about. Now, this is something that could be absolutely used by Radical Rebels in their favor, and that is, well, almost playing Siege like a, as stupid as it sounds, as a tower defense game. Because the moment you nail that kind of the pacing and as in where that initial push may come from, I reckon if they're able to set up a number of crossfires, plus play, say, off the back of maybe switch the Kapkan to something like a Legion, plus an Ella, lean into that trap meta a little bit more, you could have a really dangerous setup.
Definitely. Provided the traps played correctly on the side of RDC, it could be huge. On a map like Villa as well, which is so extensive, I mean, you could put them literally anywhere and probably get someone.
Exactly.
Due to the sheer amount of rotating that has to be done by everyone on a map like Villa, just to clear the map out, piece by piece. In saying such, though, Warriors, they're going to be doing just that. They're going to be starting on the north side and making their way on round. Time for Pi. Actually going to do more damage to Psycho than she did to the Zofia on the Volton, which usually isn't the case. In saying such, though, allowing Warriors to get into Master is not the best thing for the defense here, especially with Soy taking down your supporting player, and this is going to force Psycho to attempt to run away, but Time Fires there on the cross, and now, with those 2 kills in the bag, Warriors pretty much have free reign on the north side of the map.
Not the kind of result that I would assume Warriors would have wanted to see happen to them, but as it stands, though, good return to form. Meep still being able to get the better of Aussie, and then being able to bail out from that engagement does make things a little bit nice and snappy in her favor. Now the rest of the team will have to be making sure that they nail their performances, their shots as much as possible, finding those Capcan traps as well. The drone game, I mean, the one thing I do have to highlight, Warriors and their drone game has been, I think, of just absolute commendation here for themselves, because the way how they've almost clinically just clear out each and one of those positions, the way how they just make it work, has been an absolute pleasure to watch.
Yeah, it really has. I mean, drone games from both teams has been insane, but yeah, Warriors just on that level of insane drone knowledge is pretty cool, but having the Thinker down means that Time for Pi can't be immediately rezzed here with the Adrenal Surge, and obviously with Meeps on this roam, things are still looking pretty scary here for Warriors, unless they can deal with it, but in saying that, Meeps to go down, Soy finds that kill on top red, leaving things all up to Aussie Ash. Low HP and a Dream, but the Dream is ended very swiftly. Sledge of Soy for her second kill in the round, walking on in, collecting with a headshot. Vodafone Warriors, their lead grows as we head into the 5th round.
Indeed it is. Look, again, Warriors seem to be just a little bit on that higher kind of run so far, with the way how they've been conducting themselves, the way how they've been playing it out. Finally, we do see a switch of the operators as RDC, well, like we mentioned, lean a little bit heavier into that trap game, introducing the Thorn. That would basically be the operator and the operator's utility that would be required to force that kind of unnecessary movement, that unnecessary shuffle around the short and controlled areas. And to be played in tandem with the Legion Mines would be good. So I'm actually very much looking forward to how will they be able to absolutely utilize this kind of combination of the two operators. On top of that, Meeps continues to play her now favorite, it seems, Capcan, which has been actually working out pretty well, all things considered.
Yeah, the Capcan is actually, while the traps might not have had much impact, the operator himself has definitely been doing damage in the hands of Meep. So at least they're bad. I mean, you know, the 919 is definitely a scary gun. With the 1.5 as well, with an angled grip, you can't really go wrong. But Meeps with the spawn peak, unfortunately, isn't going to catch anything off the start of that round. It's going to fall away from Wolf before being found out on that angle, albeit. I mean, this is the same scoreline that we saw on Bank Cthulhu. This is where we saw RDC turn it around and bring it back to 3-3. So whether or not history repeats itself here is going to be a point of contention to pay attention to. But in saying that, the clear that we've seen from Warriors from this master side across towards the bomb site has been relatively clean cut and polished from them. And we've seen them pretty much take it without any real issue. Again, we're seeing that already with Pi getting so deep into the bathroom side, and Sav actually already on the Wolf window forcing that roamer back. But RDC have learned their lesson. They're not going to stick around for too long and force the bodies all the way back to the site already, and more on those downstairs roam for the later on flanks. So good play from them, good adaptation in terms of learning from their mistakes.
Absolutely, yeah. Adaptation has been very much clinical here from them, so it's certainly, I'm glad to see that sort of flexible gameplay does come to fruition here. Now the question being is whether it is enough to, you know, slow down the round bleed, slow down that play. Evidently, well, it does so far seem to be proving to be enough to slow down the time play that has been very clear about that they want to take this as quickly as possible. Unfortunately for Mystique, her position rather rapidly compromised. Meeps very much ready and keen to run out. This could be a big turnover. In comes the run out. No, unfortunately, a misread is there, revealing possibly the intentions of the Capcan player.
Yeah, not deep enough, unfortunately, outside to reveal the position long enough of the 90 player, albeit the pre-placed Nitro is going to be heard here by Time for Pi. Whether or not she's going to go hunting for that, indeed, it looks like she might be. And on her ventures, she will find Meeps. In doing so, the pre-placed Nitro is going to blow from Spartan, fruitless in the process, albeit a minute left in play. Cthulhu, 5 versus 3. We've seen RDC do it before, but can they do it again here?
There's certainly still a possibility of that very thing. Proto already. They might just do it. With 40 seconds remaining, though, there's still quite a buffer there to play. Aussie Ash and Psycho picking up a kill, though. Each, this is big, equalizing the player count, playing numbers as well. Spartan could go in for the swing and needs to be very cautious about this sort of swing, this sort of play. Gripsty will be able to actually stick it out. Completely not enough of a swing. And this is all dire because now it's again in a post-plan situation.
The Warriors able to get this bomb down is insane, but a 3v3 is doable here for RDC, provided they can get the flank, but the flank is shut down by Crips T on the Hibana, leaving it all up to Psycho and Spartan. It's going to be another player dedicating themselves towards 90 to at least find an opening pick here, but time is not of the essence. Psycho needs to speed things up. From below, Spartan's actually going to be coming towards red. Psycho for a second takes down Crips T, but Spartan needs to hurry things up for the pinch here onto the site with only 16 seconds left in play. The red player's the next point of contention, isn't going to find the sledge off the initial gunfight. Soy with still bullets left in the tank's going to get the damage, but the swing on from Time for Pi to finish things off. Warriors find their 4th, but a very good attempt from RDC nonetheless.
Absolutely, yeah. The idea was certainly there.
Mouse
1 minute, oh man. Still waiting for that LMG nerf to come through.
Aussie Ash can hear us.
But all memes aside, good effort by RDC. So far, they managed to pose themselves pretty well, all things considered, and it was a decent play. Unfortunately, just the remainder of it all kind of didn't leave a whole lot of conclusions for us to really go off the back of. So one would hope to see that we would watch Radical Rebels perform it to push into a draw scoreline of, say, now a 4-4 later down the line in this map of Villa. But for Warriors, only three rounds away from making sure that they are in the grand finals and continuing that kind of unbeatable score. Honestly, as much as I would love to see that, you know, that underdog storyline to come to fruition, Proto, the chances are dwindling here for Radical Rebels.
Yeah, unfortunately they are. I mean, we hyped them up at the end of Bank. We try to hype them up at the start of this game, but Warriors, they're on form. This is their map pick. This is arguably what they've been waiting for all night. And you know, it is highlighted in their style of play. They know exactly what they want to do. They've got crossfires set up everywhere. The drone work, as you highlighted, is insane. And they have been able to take so much ground so quickly off of RDC here that they just haven't been able to keep up. And that's not, you know, anything to their fault. It is just that Warriors, you can tell that this is a map that they like. You can tell that this is a map that they practice on the regular. In saying that, though, 4-2 isn't going to be the end of the world here for RDC, provided that they can get this round and do the damage. And especially with Mystique finding Soy in the down on the Time for Pi as well, this has already been a good start for them.
Absolutely, still a good set of openers, but, well, with Time for Pi getting the better of Meeps, that's one of your rumors out of the equation. Psycho is still there, could still introduce that element of surprise, and, well, Psycho, oh no, just continuous, just tick damage coming in. Unfortunately, couldn't find any sort of a frag. Spartan forced off that position as well, with only 2 players actually playing around the ground floor. Which, once the read does come about that it's only the 2 UMP-45 wielders, well, all hell will break loose, I reckon. Courtesy of Warriors, and the C4 is about to start coming around. Oh boy, yeah, Aussie Ash needs to be very much careful and cautious about where she peeks with that gun.
Yeah, in saying this though, Soft Breach was taken away. The dedicated Soft Breach, rather, should I say, of Soy on the sledge. They do still have 6 of the breaching pads being used right now by both Sav and Time for Pi. So they do have some verticality to play with here. They've cleared out the important positions, Tetris namely, back kitchen, etc., etc. So they're going to start making their way in here with Aussie dropping down into the laundry side of things. Aussie Ash taking a lot of damage. With this castle opening up, it's going to have to be the forced hand play here. Is she going to go for the swing? Indeed she is, but Finkel ready and waiting. Aussie will find that kill. 50 seconds left. 2 players alive for RDC. Cthulhu, can they make it happen? The first kill for Mystique, possibly of many. Only 40 seconds left in play, though. Warriors have to go for this execute.
Absolutely, yeah. Warriors have still quite a bit of a tall order. 33 seconds to go. They have the avenues open, but they need to nail their shots, and at the moment the shots are not being nailed at all. With no Finker, this is a permanent damage onto Crips T. Another swing. Spartan has a perfect another position to bleed the HP from, but I say that clean 2 swings from the remainder of Warriors roster, and that is all that she wrote there. 5-1. Is our scoreline here, Proto, as Warriors are looking rather dominant on their own map pick. And look, we've been hoping to see a bit more of a fight from Radical Rebels, but yeah, given that this is the map pick of Warriors, I suppose it will speak for itself.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, map pick of Warriors, you can't really highlight too much else into that. It is what it is at the end of the day. RDC, they tried the aggressive roam, but given that the Warriors, it's their map pick, you know, they just had the number. They knew exactly what was happening. They were expecting it. They played into it, and ultimately came out on top. We do see RDC on the attack now. They're going to bring out Flores. Interestingly enough, we didn't see that from Warriors at all in that last half, albeit Thinker and Line as well, operators that we've seen from them already in the previous map. So nothing out of the ordinary too much, but Meeps forfeiting Sledge for the Zofia on the side of RDC. So it's good to see that they're actually using the attacker repick here on map number 2, albeit. Yeah, given that it's a 5-1 half, and given that Warriors now have defense, I mean, and the strategy that we're seeing from them here, I mean, they've got a downstairs extension, they've got Goyo, they've got Denial coming out the wazoo, and they are so set in terms of everything that they would need to hold on to this site. RDC are going to have to be really careful how they go about taking this, because Warriors have a really good setup utility-wise here.
Nuttery actually highlighted up a really good position where that door, that entry door from the master bedroom into the statuary, was actually unmuted. So an opening for the Flores drone to come around and to utilize that position would be big, albeit it already now attracted the attention of Crips T, but again, the Roomba is there to, well, cause some sort of explosion. Unfortunately, just not enough. This very position, as much as that was more so just a dire way of denying just the destruction of the drone, could actually bite back really badly at the attack. I say that though, Ozzy already downed, and Meeps actually has the control of the Astro.
Yeah, provided that that's the second kill for Zofia on the entry here, it is going to allow RDC to just make their way straight into the site. Both Nitros forced, the bomb now going down as well. It's going to have to be a retake from Warriors. They don't have... Oh, sorry, they do have one more explosive to use on the downstairs, but saying this, the bomb's already gone down. The Nitro, unfortunately, not connecting on the Meeps, who was already low HP. Aussie on the rappel will be able to find the first of the Astro rotators, leaving Time for Pi and Sav in a 2 versus 5, provided saying this, Time for Pi will find one Meeps. No, make it 2 Meeps to take down Sav as well, but the line scan to slow Time for Pi down. 20 seconds left. This is definitely doable. The Claymore from Meeps for her third. RDC, they're going to find second round on the board for themselves. I can't believe this. Really good round from them, though. Really well done.
That was clean. That was a clean play from RDC, just as we were about to say, oh yeah, nah, this is all now going downhill. Well, no, not necessarily. A good form being shown, actually, yeah, from RDC. They're certainly doing a good job. And that early take of Astro, just the sheer amount of openers it provided for RDC was absolutely just beautiful to watch. So now going into this very same site, the reiteration of that, I'm curious how much are we going to see the change in the lineup, because there's already a change in the setup where Crips T is looking to play a little bit more up close to that very doorway to deny from the get-go any sort of, distractions in form of those Rotero drones. but possibly, I mean, having a little bit more control over the master bedroom would allow a little bit more of that leverage for Warriors to really play around. On the side of Radical Rebels, once again, it's just about the same lineup, but it's the lineup that worked out rather well.
Yeah, it was definitely fruitful for them on the attack. I mean, you know, the sheer amount... Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay, but...
Well then.
Hang on, what was... Maybe the default camera? Maybe...
Probably is, yeah. Maybe. Flame. Okay, very cool.
Something went wrong there for RDC. In saying that, though, Mystique being on the Flores, that's going to be a pretty big loss for RDC in the opening moments of that round. So rather unfortunate, but I guess if you're a Warriors fan, you take those. In saying that, they're going to be trying the very similar style of play that we saw from the Warriors. It is going to be a hard north over. And when I say north over, I mean it's just going to be a straight push into the site. But yeah, without the Flores, this is going to be a whole lot more difficult, I think, now.
Yeah, with no Flores, that's quite a fair bit of a majority of that utility denial or riddance is pretty much out of the equation, meaning now very much of a back to basics kind of attempt for an attack by RDC, where it's just going to be guns blazing, throw in the throwables, and, well, cross your fingers in hope for finding those frags and finding yourself in a very favorable situation. At least they are still now deciding to, you know, regroup themselves, recuperate their losses, and see what they can find maybe with the drones to maybe find another pressure point to really play around. It stands though Aussie Ash and Aussie Ash will be pushing the 90. Psycho, meanwhile, pushes the life expectancy of Crips T down to a 0.
Yeah, nice nade as well from the Thinker. Still one left to play with. 3 flashbangs from Aussie Ash as well. Only one more line scan available in play. In saying that, though, 2 nitros on the board for the Warriors. Make that 1 now. And all of the Goyo utility that you could possibly ever want. And the downstairs presence still available for them. But as I say that, Psycho with her second nade is actually going to land the second kill with that explosive. So really good utility usage here for RDC, and paired with what they have left, provided if they could get some info into the site, they actually could have just gone for the vault in there. In saying such, though, they're not going to go for it. They're not going to fall for the bait, and it is going to allow Warriors to rotate back into the site. In saying this, though, RDC not much time left to work with.
Yeah, 30 seconds to go. We might just have to watch them just full send it directly onto site where plethora of crossfires could be already set up. In the 3v3 though, look, it will go down ultimately to those 1v1s, and, well, 17 seconds to go. It's about to be go time.
Lion to come out. It's going to have to be the push through the Goyo fire, provided that is the operator that has been bought for the denial. Saying that, though, Aussie Ash to find the first. The bomb going down, actually, on bricks. The Nitro not connecting for Soy. Things for RDC looking good. They're not going to be able to get rid of the planter and Warriors. It's going to be a post plant again. Aussie Ash will be down by Soy from red, though, and it is now the post plant. Soy find that kill at the top of red, but with Sab on the bomb, they don't really have any means of direct denial. No person close by to stop
frag
this
grenades
plant.
either.
Yeah, no frag grenades either. It is just going to be the defense. They're going to go for the swing, but with Soy on the cross here, they are going to be able to take the planter down. Soy's good for the first, but needs to find Psycho here in a matter of time, but can't with the pistol. Psycho to hold on. RDC make a round that shouldn't have been theirs.
Oh, RDC making it work. They keeping themselves nice and snappy in this competition. Absolutely just frying the competition with a 3-5 scoreline. This is much more workable now for themselves, and it's almost feels like a bit of a bizarre concept, given that, well, we started things off with, first of all, the TK. Let's not forget that, right?
Yeah.
Second of all, we currently are seeing the dominant attacking side on Villa. Whereas, I mean, just generally speaking, we have kind of grown accustomed to, you know, usually saying, oh yeah, the defensive side is there, yeah, defensive side is all good, yeah, this is where you get the point. No, doesn't look like that's the case in any shape or form here. Not today, yeah. Warriors certainly flogging out of their mind, and, well, misread upon misread coming around. Whereas on the side of Radical Rebels, they're making, well, they're making a perfect score out of those very sad mistakes from Warriors, and that's basically the only way to really describe this, is the fact that just RDC punishing their opponents really, really well.
I mean, yeah, in saying that, at the end of that round there, from our observer view, we actually saw that the Goyo canister was still on the wall of Brick Store, available to pop. We saw the bathroom one get popped. The question is, why did the Warriors not then go into Trophy and pop the one on the Master Door to stop the walk-in? I guess we'll never know, Cthulhu. But again, as you said, mistakes are being made and they are being capitalized on by RDC. I mean, that Goyo not being popped, allowing the bomb to go down, forcing the 1v1. Looks really, really good for RDC. They played that pretty much to a T, given that they, as you said, started off with the TK and then the very quick kill on the Meeps as well. Warriors shouldn't have let that slip, but they did. And this is where it's going to get interesting, because if RDC can win at least one or two more, we're going to be on for a very spicy game of Siege. Saying that, though, time for Pi to open things up onto Aussie Ash. The Lion taken down early means no more Lion scans. And it was actually a solo attempt on the north side with no one there to refrag at all.
Yeah, a bit of an interesting decision, albeit understandable that they wanted to set up essentially like a flank play, but on a map like Villa, in the way how you would usually approach the walk-in closet, it's a little bit ill-advised, given especially the fact that Warriors would have been probably roaming around, at least having one person around there, having some sort of a drone game prior to that very push, or even just the opening of the window would have been already been able to kind of count in as to where the push could be happening. Candela in, gets eaten up by the ADS, and off screen, well, time to let the Daka rip.
Yeah, the mouse one meta. 2 LMGs coming up the main stairs. Psycho to find the first, going to opt for the reload. Kind of has to go for the reload in saying that. 7 bullets is not too many to play with. Adrenal Surge as well to return her to almost her former glory in terms of HP. In saying that, though, Warriors still 4 players strong. Have a lot in terms of their utility to play with. Denials on the board in terms of the smoke. Nitro's in the hands of Time for Fire as well, who's already on a heater of a game, 10 and 5. I mean, Cthulhu, anything could happen.
Absolutely. Anything could happen here, and everything will possibly happen. The way how things been really working out here, Warriors could really have a chance to shut this down, and they would want to shut this down right here, right now. Whilst they still have the opportunity, Sav blinded, completely ridden off her retinas as the push is starting to keep on happening. RDC have those positions, those power positions to play around. Meeps gets the better of Sav already, once again pushing the player count advantage in their favor. Crips T holding her own position here. Time for Pi trying to fend off the whole push, but is the continuous set of reswings is big. Crips T with a shotgun. No, can't really be finding any sort of frags, and it's Psycho to pick up another one. Soy falls, and it's a 4th point for Radical Rebels.
What is happening to the Warriors right now? They cannot seem to close anything out on this defense half. It was a 5-1 split, keep in mind, Cthulhu, and we are 1 round away from RDC equalizing here on their attacking half. Now, something that I don't think either of us were expecting is a possibility now of OT on Villa, or if RDC can keep this up, a 7-5 sending us to map 3.
That could be a big scoreline if it does end up resulting in a 7-5, Proto. I mean, think of the
Psycho's
results. Yeah, surely 3 maps. Oh man, that will be an interesting turnout if we do end up going to a 3-mapper, because Warriors, look, I mean, as much as they are all friends and everything, I'm very much questioning their, or rather, their ability to convincingly throw well enough to push this to Villa. Albeit, do keep in mind, we did mention that Villa is kind of a bit of a more of an even ground for both of the teams, and given how Radical Rebels were able to push this in bang.
Attackers are heading out to defuse a bomb.
What are the odds?
High, it seems, especially if they can keep this up. I mean, Bank was a 7-4, which is no small feat of R6 from these teams. So, in saying that, surprisingly enough, we're at a very similar score point here, 5-4, but this is where we saw the Warriors start to take off on Bank. So whether or not that is what happens here on Villa, completely different possibility. At the same time, in saying such things, It looks like that RDC are gearing themselves up for a very aggressive laundry take. They already have one player deep inside a laundry. Time for Buy's already made the call, though. The Nitro possibly ready to come out. Not too sure what the play is here, but it is actually going to be the Nitro. Whether or not it connects is a different question. No, it won't. The Candela to blind the poles is going to be the first play of a few, but Sav needs to peek from this hatch to try and get this kill, but Mystique's going to back off from the door, not going to catch Crips T out, the shotgun in hand. Going to be there to collect, and that is the opener for Warriors.
Well,
Located by attackers.
whereas finding that big operator in form of Ying, Mystique, the person who was able to find quite a number of big openers, no more being in the play, could be a big result. Maybe later down the line, this could kind of be the starter of the that sort of comeback wave, or rather the stop of that bleed. Meep's still alive. Meeps wants to go in for the full swing. Unfortunately, the grenade, I believe, just about reaches the drone as well, and unfortunately can't really reach the mute jammer either. The swing comes in. Perfect read by Meeps. Another swing could be coming around. Psycho gets the better of Aussie. Warriors are all falling apart all of a sudden.
The bomb, again, going down. Soy on the cap can does do some damage, but unfortunately not enough to find a down or a frag. And now in the post plan, Crips T is going to have to re-aggress Psycho for another.
Right.
But Soy is there to shut her down. The Nitro deep does damage to Meeps, but not enough to find the kill. The SMG 11 to deal some as well. But that Nitro's actually cleared out the mute jammer too. The shotgun to force, but can't find the second. Spartan is there. Soy will take down Spartan, and now a 1 versus 1 is going to go for the defuse, covered behind the diffuser, behind the bomb chassis rather as well. If the Goyo is popped there, this could be the defuse. The Nitro not popped. It will be now. The Goyo is going to be able to deny, and the bomb could be defused, but Soy just needs to stick it. She just needs to make the play. Aussie's stuck downstairs on the staircase and needs to walk through the fire. She's just going to be staring at the cap can, but instead of tucking behind the bomb chassis, Soy exposes herself and RDC equalize. What?
Oh my lord.
What is going on in the Warriors camp right now? This was their map pick, Cthulhu.
Oh boy. I'm just about as lost for words as you are here, Proto. Just all over the place. And oh man.
Attackers need to
Soy.
locate and defuse bombs.
What happened there is completely beyond me. I've just had the opportunity of a lifetime, just stretched out to beyond all limitations, and completely fogged it. What happened is, and the only answer I think there is we don't know. And I think the only time we'll get even just a slither of that insight is maybe during the end of the match interviews, but as it stands, it's not pretty. It's not pretty at all. Warriors not really feeling it at all, and this this has been not particularly a very well coordinated play.
I mean, in the best of situations, you pop the Goyo, tuck behind the chassis, defuse.
Yeah, and you
Thanks for the
defuse.
round.
Yeah,
Thanks
exactly.
for the round. I mean, as I said, I don't know what happened there, or what the call was, or what the play was from the Warriors side. But in saying such, you know, it happens to the best of us. And in saying this as well, somehow Sav is still alive. Mystique unable to find that kill, while the Malusi is shooting all the drones. Here comes the Lion scan to try and clear this player on Astro out. The Candela is there, but not the supporting player and point of contact for RDC. And frag not there just yet, unfortunately for them. They may try to retake into Astro, but it doesn't look like they're too interested, and this is going to allow RDC to get on in, while Nitro sort of pulled out in the process as well.
Indeed it is. Well, already quite a fair bit of presence up on the top floor. Entry has been thoroughly made already, as she doesn't care. She's just back on site. It will be just about enough of an indication that, well, at least they won't have to deal with with one of the players. But RDC are very convincing kind of frontal towards the towards the match point for themselves, with Meeps getting the better of time for Pi. I think map 3 is calling for us here, Proto.
It is. It really is. Or at least it appears to be. I mean, this is not what I was expecting coming into map 2. I mean, yes, map 1 was an absolute showing, but in saying that, this was the Warriors' pick, and here we are, 5-5 at the moment. I mean, we said that it was a possibility, and I'm not surprised that it has happened so far, but I mean, Sawyer's just waiting for the perfect time to go for this flank, but the information seems to be there. Aussie Ash holding this angle. It's actually going to be the deep bathroom flank here for Sawyer, going all the way around to bricks. Will spot the Finker. He's going to be able to take that kill as well. Will she check close left? No, not on the reload, unfortunately. So the trades are there. But in saying such, off-screen, Mystique to take down Sav. It's all up to Crips T on the smoke in a 1 versus 4. Swings on out to find the first. The flashbang, though, will make her completely blind. Needs to go for more. The bomb now rotating towards Bar. 20 seconds left in play. Spartan getting the diffuser down. And I think we're going to see another post plan here, Cthulhu, in a 1v3.
Attackers activating diffuser.
Seems to be the slogan for tonight, is just let's get those post plans going. Spartan gets herself tagged up a little bit as Crips T very frantically throws around the gas grenades, and well, it's all but that. All bark, no bite from Warriors. Match point in the hands of RDC as what, it's been a 5-round streak.
Yeah, a 5-round streak, pretty much. Unanswered. Warriors can't catch a break on Villa defense at all. They have not won a single round in 5 rounds. RDC are on an absolute heater of a match. And Warriors cannot do anything, to the point where they're busting out the Clash to directly contest this roam clear from RDC. Things are getting desperate, Cthulhu. We're going to see OT here if they can do it, but if it's the Clash that has to come out to make it happen, you already know that Warriors are reaching deep into the packet of biscuits.
With that, Proto, I am confused and amused at the same time.
Yeah.
On the side of amusement is the fact that Radical Rebels were able to push the sort of scoreline from 1-5 to 6-5.
Yeah.
And confused as to how in the heck do Warriors completely flop the whole 4-point lead. It is beyond me, and I'm confused, and it's just, yeah.
I'm scared.
I'm scared. Somebody call my mom. I'm scared.
I mean, it's just, it is bewildering. It like, RDC have had a glow up between maps almost. Like, you know, it was like, oh yeah, bank 7-4, nothing cash, and you know, 5-1 on the half of Villa. It was like, oh yeah, you know, cool. Here we are, 6-5 later, 5 rounds unanswered from Warriors, and you know, we're yet to see the end of the game. But I mean, in saying such, RDC, they're looking so good in at least attempting to clear these positions and players out here. Having Meeps on the skull window is going to make things interesting for this rotate. It's going to lock time for Pi and Soy towards the top red side. Sav's going to go for the possible swing here to take Meeps down. She's going to fall away just as this is beginning to happen. And RDC, yeah, they've done some good damage, but they haven't really achieved too much just yet.
Now, here's actually a fun stat for you. Warriors, when they played last time against Radical Rebels in the regular stage, it wasn't week 1. It was off the back of, during Oregon. And guess what was the scoreline?
7-0.
Yep, 7-0, exactly. And it was, it's quite a stark difference given that Radical Rebels are only 1 round away from being able to take a map away from Warriors, a team that has been basically uncontested throughout 2 separate seasons.
Yeah, I mean, in saying that, Oregon is our 3rd map, so if history repeats itself, you know, not looking great for RDC. But saying that, given that this is 6-5 right now, match point to RDC favor, Warriors are digging deep to make something happen here. The clash is in play. They're all just holding for their angles. They're not playing for contact, and they haven't really been doing too much in terms of aggression. But when they try, Sav, punished by Psycho on the Finker, who has been having an absolutely insane game here. And I mean, just caught again at the wrong point. Meeps will find Soy before being down by the Frost Mat, but unfortunately, it's already done its damage. And Cthulhu, 40 seconds left. Time for Pi. He's going to be able to confirm that frag. But in saying that, RDC, they're about to look to walk into the site.
Yep, two indeed. This is looking very scary here for the Warriors. The last stand, 3v3, 20 seconds remaining. They might just be able to push this into OT. But again, we've said that multiple times. We've said that into the match point, and well, none of that really came to fruition. 10 seconds. Now it's time to go in for the plan.
They're going to get on in. Cripsy to find the first of the entering forces, but the bomb now going down. A Nitro in play. Perfect throw. Could end it here to send us to OT, and it will. Cripsy to land it. With Aussie on the cross to find the other player as well. We are going to OT, ladies and gentlemen. Warriors, hold on for another round. But what does it cost them to get here? I mean, RDC...
Everything.
They've got the momentum. They've got the mental going into OT, and they're going to keep going on their attack.
Oh boy. Okay, right. Overtime. Overtime is upon us. Problem is that Warriors, they picked OT on they picked defense on OT. So
not great.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not Pog, not great at all. And I'm just trying to just keep myself composed just amidst all of this absolute chaos that we watched erupt between the two teams. But look, at least better late than never for Warriors to you know, but come back and stop the round bleed.
Oh, I mean, Warriors, that's the first round they've seen in 5 rounds go their favour. And they had to bust out the clash to make it happen. I mean, the impact that Time for Buy had that round on the clash was pretty big, arguably. I mean, completely shut down. I mean, we saw Aussie Ash attempt to go for the bar flank there at the end of that round and force the, you know, the split sort of focus. But with the clash available, shut that down completely. Wasn't allowed to get in there and could not deal that damage. Forced all of RDC, or what was left of it, into the waiting arms of Warriors. They played for the Nitros on the cross. Easy peasy, thanks for coming. But in doing such, they've had to bring out that operator. And in saying that, you could say that Warriors are definitely feeling the heat here against RDC going into these next few rounds of OT, because we've only seen them bust out clash when things have been, you know, when it's been a necessity. It isn't necessarily a starting pick for them.
Yeah, look, I mean, it definitely feels like Warriors are starting to, you know, lean into a little bit of that kind of crutch gameplay for themselves. So I am very much curious to see if that is actually going to be now a kind of a quote-unquote a working theory. Frag grenade out, thankfully caught by the magnet grenade. Oh, magnet charge. My brain is cooked at this point. I'm sorry. But so it seems like it was the brain of Warriors as well, just a few rounds before. So it's very much of a paced down play now from Radical Rebels, as they're now realizing that, oh, we just might be able to take this. We just might be able to make this dream run work.
I mean, yeah, they've got the mental, they've got the ability to do so. I mean, they've been keeping up the momentum all throughout this match so far. So, I mean, in saying that, we could definitely see something from them. A bit of more aggression here from Warriors this time, though. We do see a player walking up 90. We did see one attempting to flank, but I think it was called out, and that is going to force them back towards the site. So, in saying such, things for Warriors here getting pretty interesting, given that they've held on to a lot of their positions. It could be all for nothing. I can find this red, but no, can't find it.
Now that Candela does come around, this would have been calling for that push, but because of that clash, all of that slowdown gameplay is happening and working out almost perfectly well. Another Candela about to be unleashed. Now it's time for the push. No, eaten up by the ADS. Sav, meanwhile, off screen gets the better of Meeps. Spartan Mystique follow up into the grave, and it's all down to Psycho. He's trying to make a play, and you look at that. It's just all falling apart. The ADS is eating up all of this utility. And I mean, maybe Clash was the solution to all of this, now that I think about it.
It really was. I mean, look, rotated on over. I'm going to completely deny the walk-in study here. Just there to greet. And, you know, as amazing as Psycho's game on Finca has been so far, Crips T's M590 will prove to be superior in this instance. And Vodafone Warriors, they're going to regain the lead after a grueling 6 rounds, put themselves back on match point and go finally back onto the attack here. But RDC, I mean, given they've got the momentum, given they've got the mental, as I said, as you said, we could see max OT and we could see a third map here. It is very much so on the cards at the moment.
Absolutely. It's just... yeah, look, been all over the place. RDC now get to defend their own. Last time we watched this kind of play happen, the last time I've seen them on the defense, well, they concluded their half at a 5-1, and it was off the back of, well, Warriors and more so pushing for the post-plan scenarios. So, unfortunate for RDC, given that they managed to push this far, managed to bring it to OT, and it's already a much better improvement, I mean, comparative to a 7-0 that was back in week 1. But oh man, I'm still at a disbelief of just how close this Villa ended up being.
I mean, yeah, a real highlight for RDC, the fact that last time they versed Warriors, it was a 7-0 to Warriors. For now, them to come back and it be 6-7, not over yet, still the ability for them to go to OT here. And map 3 is kind of insane, but the walk-in...
Okay.
It's not the
walk-in could have been big. I nearly got hyped thinking, oh, this is the push, this is where we go.
This is the site, boys!
This is the site.
Get in there.
The game is straight away presented with a psych. Oh, okay. Well,
you
I'm
thought.
gonna just go see myself out.
I was like, what's happening that's going to be cool in the next 30 seconds? I was looking, I'm like, what am I missing? What's going on? And I realized, oh, this is not the site.
Just
don't worry.
Brain did a bit of a crooked moment.
Brain lag moment. I mean, hey, it's a good entry. I mean, a minute, they've got a lot of control. There's that. That's pretty hype, right? Woo! Entries!
Great entry! Let's go!
Let's go!
The game changer.
It's falling apart, ladies and gentlemen. We apologize. It really is.
Well, speaking of the entries, though, well, the Warriors are continuing to farm up the points, getting rid of all of the utility that was placed around, and actually basically littered around the actual site. But interestingly enough, the drones have actually spotted the fact that there's actually nobody on the 90 hallway.
Yeah, it's going to allow the Warriors to take some good control. Now, attack is where they thrived in the previous iteration, or at least the previous half of this map. So I'd imagine we're going to see them look to at least do pretty much what they were doing on their attack in the first half and just go for it. But here comes, I believe, a Candela. It is going to get ADS, the second to follow through here. Lights on indeed, and this might be the end of Spartan. Completely blind. It is going to draw the Nitro, but it's not going to do too much. Meeps on the attempted flank, 40 seconds Cthulhu. Not much left to play with.
Roll Meeps is still downstairs though, so she could be that big upset potential. Did the drone spot the position of the Jaeger though? Mystique could be in a whole lot of trouble. Instead, it's Crips T that is in trouble. The push is there, and Spartan gets the better of Crips T. Finally shut down off the back of just an absolute waffle fest. 4v4 Meeps, completely unscouted. This could be the end of it all. Meeps does get the better of Sav. 4 versus 3, man. It may actually make it a 4 versus 2 because already a downed Aussie is there. No Psycho whiffs the shots. 10 seconds. Another reswing. This is big. 7 seconds. 2v2. Can we make it work? Misty gets it down. No, 3 seconds remaining. No diffuser at all. The time is there, but it was so close. My goodness.
RDC holding on by a thread. A thread, Cthulhu. It comes down to this. Full regulation time. 15 rounds of Rainbow Six. The Warriors need 1 to take the series, but RDC need 1 to take it to number 3. Given how well they did on their attack, going forward into this 15th round, Warriors, they're going to bring that clash out again, but Cthulhu, I don't know how I'm feeling going into this. This is as 50-50 as it gets. This could be anyone's game in this final round, because this is it. There is either hope for map 3 or there is nothing after this. Warriors walk away with a win. And some soiled jeans, I'd imagine, as well. This has been an absolute nail-biter from the get-go.
Absolutely, yeah. It's been very close. And something that is very worth to note, Warriors being able to pull that very small bit of comeback did manage to upset kind of the general swing of things. But on the defense, has been very much kind of all over the place. Now, introducing the Goyo plus the Clash. Now, Clash did manage to even things out nicely for themselves. Do we see them being able to hold on to this kind of momentum to their scoreline? Do we see Villa cleared out in favor of Warriors, or whether it is going to be a complete slugfest and us being sent to map number 3 after this absolute, well, just all over the place turnout? But look, it's all in the hands of RDC, I reckon.
I don't know if this has been a bit of a misread from Warriors, or something's gone wrong in translation, or, you know, there's no reinforcement on the single study wall. Now, keep that in mind. There's no players inside of study. They do have 2 Rios down inside of living for some reason. They want to play for those nitros onto the B-bomb site pretty heavily here, with Soy sort of relying on that utility, I'd imagine, is going to be the play for them. But in saying that, a minute has passed. RDC taking their time, gathering their information. There's a very big possibility that they can take it all the way to a 3rd here, and they want to secure that as best as they can. I mean, they've come all this way. Why not? Right? They're taking things as slow and as concise as they possibly can going into this final round, because they want that map 3. They want that shot at going into the top place playoff.
Absolutely. That would propel them rather nicely in that position, but again, Warriors will need to play a very careful game, a very cautious one out whilst at it as well, and it could be a big deal breaker. I mean, with the way how things been going and the way how the defense was not particularly working out for Warriors, this could be a problem and a half. But I say that very much of a kind of a passive hold, and Psycho being taken out, that's big. That's a huge opener from the get-go.
Soy to go down. Soy to take Psycho down. That's a huge kill to find, especially soon as Psycho has had an insane game so far, but she's not going to have the opportunity to play anymore. Meeps is going to be looking for that refrag. Can't quite find it just yet. We'll spot the mute. And there's the headshot. Spartan as well to take down Sav, and very quickly things swing in the favour of RDC. They flood into Astro, making their way towards the site. The smoke from Crips to try and deny the shotgun in hand. Needs to go for a swing somewhere. The call's being relayed, but Crips actually goes down in the process, and very quickly things looking very good for RDC, but the diffuser is dropped. Aussie to find that kill, traded out by Aussie Ash, and it's all left up to Time to Buy. Low HP, getting meleeed by the sledge. Ladies and gentlemen, we go to map number 3. RDC take one away from the Warriors and send it to Oregon.
Oh my lord! Yeah, well, look, back to the beginnings, back to ground zero. It seems, Proto. As map 3, the Oregon, the map that started that whole rivalry between RDC before, will be the, well, possibly the one where they wrap it all up.
Meeps on 18 and 10. Soy with 17. What a showing. What a showing from both teams. Completely unexpected from the back of the woodshed. RDC pulls something out of a hat and walk away with map number 2, sending us on to the third, Oregon, Cthulhu. I am at a complete loss for words.
Look, I'm just about as lost for words as you are, Frodo. It's just Look,
Warriors map
questionable.
Pick, by the way.
Pardon?
Warriors map
Yeah,
pick,
Warriors
by the
map.
way.
Warriors map pick. Yep, Warriors map pick. I trade, matter of fact, of the map picks from both of the teams, and it seems like all the pleads of RDC players for their map 3 certainly came to fruition. After all, but look, I suppose back to the very much of basics, and Oregon is coming up upon us.
Wow, what a second map! I mean, I expected that on Bank, but not Villa. I mean, not Villa in the slightest. So yet here we are. RDC walk away with it at the end, and again, a highlight players Meeps, Psycho. An insane game from them, just really propelling their team onwards into the third. But we're going to find out shortly what happens on map number 3. We're going to go to a short break, and then we will return to see who walks away victorious in this first semi-finals best of 3. So don't go anywhere. Things are just getting heated up. We'll return shortly.
Enough.
Watch me now. Watch me now. Watch me now. Everybody talk. I just get it done. Everybody talk. I just get it done.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for one of the most interesting best of 3s I think we have casted in a long time, Cthulhu. Map number 3, RDC versus Warriors. Map 1, a 7-4. Pace setting, as you would say, for the Warriors. Going into map 2, we end at 8-7 in favor of RDC, pushing us on to Oregon. What's happened? How have we got here, Cthulhu? Break it down.
Honestly, it's been a bit of a weird one for Warriors because they showed a really good performance on the first half. Their attack was borderline flawless, and managing to force it into the post-plan situations, it was all nice and solid. 5-1 was the end result, but then we see, the second half, and it's basically another trade of the 5-1 kind of scoreline where RDC take it to the 6th point out of a blue, and only one last round is the one that manages to push us into OT. And it looked very much promising. It looked where at the beginning of OT, the defense seemingly managed to work out. The pocket pick of Clash started to work. And then comes the last round of OT, and, number 2 to the bed, and kind of just all over the place. It all fell apart. And, Radical Rebels, they managed to push this to Oregon, to what we call the ground zero. But big highlight players, Meeps, Psycho, 2 big performers that have been pushing their team through and through, albeit a number of rounds have been very much of a questionable execution from Warriors. So who knows what was really going in their heads.
I mean, the trade of map picks was an interesting way to kick things off, especially with Warriors actually losing Villa, which to me I honestly did not expect, given it was their pick. 5-1 half looked awesome, and then as you so amazingly put it, number 2 to the bed, just all went wrong. I don't know what happened. Something went really wrong in the Warriors camp. But here we are, map number 3, Oregon. Last time we saw these two teams played, as you have already alluded to, it was a 7-0 to Warriors. No contention, no nothing out of the RDC camp. So whether or not that is a repeat here for the third map, or maybe we see another Max OT game, we don't know anymore, because at this point, everything that we did know is out the window. Warriors, as we know it, are on the verge of becoming no longer undefeated. If RDC can keep up that play that we saw from Villa, it was just an absolute stomp coming into the end of it. They had Warriors' number, and here we are for the third map, something that I don't think many people were expecting. Other than the RDC girls who called it in chat at 6-3, they were like, come on, map 2, and here we are, map 3 rather, here we are, map 3 now. So this is going to be an interesting one.
Yeah. Spicy it is going to be. I'm very much excited for all the prospects and how will really Oregon unveil for ourselves now that Warriors are continuing their defensive side. I'm curious to see what they be able to do on the Oregon, given the scorelines, given the fact that defense just at all was a complete slugfest and Warriors just being unable to do anything, as if pretty much the whole of the muscle memory has been completely lost out there. But yeah, I'm more so wondering what happened in this sort of a week break, because we remember Radical Rebels, and I very distinctly remember us talking, like, wrapping up the group stage as well, at least on my end. That yeah, look, Radical Rebels, cool team. 4th place is all good. Top 4 is great. Against Warriors, not looking particularly too good, given that Warriors up until this very point were looking dominant.
Yeah,
Now going into they went into Villa, and it's like, oh, we forgot how to play. Oh, we forgot how to cover our flanks. I forgot. Oh, we forgot that we have even a Nomad to pick. Oh, we don't have the flank drones, and it just all kind of fell apart. But well, look, enough of the criticisms and enough of memeing on dumpstering teams. It's time for us to head over to the Oregon.
Going into this, I've got no idea who I want to even sort of stick with. I mean, history would sort of dictate that, you know, Warriors going into this are going to be the favourite. But in saying that, RDC have had an absolute showing. I mean, they have really proved themselves to be a team worthy of at least an attempt at the top spot here, or one of them in such. But I mean, as we said, this is one of their few top 4 appearances in a while, and they are definitely getting their money's worth here and taking it all the way to the 3rd and the 1st of the semis. I mean, this is really going to be making the Warriors think, you know, what's going to happen, provided that, you know, if they don't keep their style of play up and they don't keep that streak up, because this is already shaped up to be, I think, a bit more interesting than the Warriors were maybe hoping for.
Too interesting for Warriors.
Yeah.
To really cope with all of that. But weirdly enough, well, this time it's actually a Jackal ban from the side of Radical Rebels rather than the Warriors doing that. Understandably so, the Jackal could still be an absolute pain in the side for just any sort of setup for the defense. So with him out of the equation, Thatcher will be back into the fray, which kind of almost, well, nearly negates the, you know, the ban of the Flores, because generally speaking, you want to, well, to make it as difficult as possible for the breaches to happen. Well, you, generally speaking, ban both Thatcher and Flores to make it a little bit spicier. But alas, we do get to see only one of those utility denial operators gone and out. Cade is also in the play, so quite a fair bit of that vertical denial as well in the hands of Warriors' defenses. But, I mean, I say that none of that really comes to fruition. None of that comes to the picks. And, well, Malusi, Aruni, Jaeger, Vomaya, and the Smoke is going to be the first setup for the laundry and supply defense.
It's a pretty solid setup. It's, you know, one that you can't falter. This is arguably the set, or very close to the set of default operators, I would argue, for the downstairs style of play. Obviously, Goyo has made a bit of a resurgence into that, given his recent change, arguably that have made him better as an operator, losing the shields. But in saying that, no Goyo on this hold here from the Warriors. But this is essentially just a best of one now. It's even Steven. They've gone 1 for 1 on the trade, and we are here now. But you were saying at the start, where's the Nomad? Where's the Gridlock? Here we go. Aussie Ash on the Gridlock, bringing things out here, round number 1. Psycho back on the Twitch, trading places with Meeps to the Finker. And Thatcher obviously being bought as well. But with Cade and Thatcher on the board, we're not going to see too much play from Cade, provided that Thatcher is on the board. So, you know, you love to see the operator picks. But yeah, I mean, RDC coming off that win, they're going to be looking really good going into this one mental-wise.
Oh yeah, mental is certainly going to be in the strongest position possible. I'll say that. So there's certainly great opportunities for that to happen, and great opportunities that have been provided to them by Warriors, which I reckon Warriors would be still rather frustrated with the way how things really turned out for them, and not particularly keen to give any further ground away, I would imagine. In saying that, though, Meeps looking to take the early positional advantage in the tower. Already spotted the rotation position, but is there enough to really make it worth pushing? Because the drones are just about to confirm any sort of proximity position of the defenders.
Yeah, they really yet to make their way too deep into the building. They have some sort of tertiary positions set up. Psycho off on a lonesome, it seems, towards more of the south side of the map, with the rest of the team trying to clear out the north completely. But they are just taking their time. They're sort of dedicating what they need to get done and clearing out as much util as they can before they sort of start to push on in. And as I say that, they are going to make their way in now. Twitch deals with a little bit of that default camera utilities. But other than that, not a great deal done by both teams. But it is going to be more of a bunker hold for Warriors. They want to play safe for this because, you know, if they lose this, they don't get a shot at that first, second place. So they're going to have to play a bit more reserved.
Absolutely. Now it's all down to that kind of game of sudden death, one could really call it. As already Psycho actually getting to work on that utility with the Twitch drone, actually doing a lot of that damage, but 54 seconds only just to get the drone in. Not the kind of situation that you want to find yourself in, and something that would prefer it to be avoided at all costs, but 42 seconds, I think this is time for the collapse to happen.
It's going to have to be a 5-on-5 team fight. So he's locked out. She is going to find one for her troubles. Can she get any more deep inside of blue? Completely cut off from her team. Yes, she can. Oh. Shutting down Spartan. This is huge frags here, but it finally gets traded out. Mystique to find Soy, and very quickly things now need to collapse onto the site. Track Stinningers are going to come out into the hallway to try and deny the push from Freezer, but Time for Pine the Cross has a great angle to deny this default plant. The bomb yet to go down, the smoke to come onto long. The play will make it deep. Gridlock, a lot of damage dealt, but it's Sav to find the kill. 7 seconds remain. Mystique will find one onto Sav for the trade, but the bomb yet to go down. Take Smoke. It's actually not going to go down. Cryptstique for 2. Warriors start things off on Oregon with a very convincing defense.
Another convincing defense, but again, we've seen that one before on Villa, and things didn't particularly look too pretty there for the remainder of the time that we got to witness those two teams. Now, well, Hopium and Copium is certainly still going to be in full utilization mode there from the Warriors, but Radical Rebels still get plenty few chances to make it work for themselves and make it, you know, play it out the way how they would have probably wanted to see it play out. But it was off the back of just essentially letting RDC to walk into that whole setup and then awaiting for, well, the pain to come, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. The fact that Soy was able to find 2 in bunker before being traded that was big for Warriors. They needed that going into that final dying sort of seconds in that round, because provided they hadn't found those 2 kills, I mean, the utility that was still available, hard breach to play with on the wall, etc., etc. So, in saying such, very big plays there from Soy on the individual level side of things, but RDC, they still got close nonetheless. Here they are, round 2. Slight changes to the lineup, switching out the Habana for the Ace. Sorry, got his name for a second. But yeah, I mean, other than that, just keeping things relatively clean cut and polished.
Yeah, absolutely. Good job so far. Albeit only been one singular round, but off the back of that singular round, it does set sort of like a precedent for, yeah, Warriors seeming to be back into the swing of things. Maybe it's just they used it as kind of like, you know, the time to sort of find their own footing there and maybe, you know, take a bit of a chill pill with the strats. But I'm curious what happened with Sav.
Yeah, I mean, Sav's downed. How
no,
has she been allowed
Sav
to crawl that far away?
Oh no. Okay, there we go. There's the finisher.
There's the trade. So the equalization after losing Psycho, but
yeah,
Unfortunate.
due to a DC as well, which is even more unfortunate on top of it all. But one will have to wait and see what is going to be the actual end result of this whole shenanigans set, as the Meeps off gets completely shut down, and finally it seems like Warriors will finally reawaken, but because the last few set of rounds were definitely very much questionable, I'll say that.
Yeah, especially on the Villa side, it was definitely interesting. But in saying that, you know, they've definitely worked their positions better off to start on Oregon. Armory still a point of contention for RDC, but with no players over present there, it is going to be a little bit difficult for them now to clear that out. The Malusi charge, giving the position of Mystique away. She is going to choose to creep on down. Does she see the foot of the Malusi? Possibly not, due to the fact that the deployable shield is there. Position obviously given away with the gunshots, but in saying such, 50 seconds, Cthulhu, not much time, and not really much control here for RDC. They only have players inside a tower.
Yeah. Push comes to shove in a second. 3v4.
Attackers bomb diffuser has
And a lone snap of the cross mat. That is just unfortunate. Borderline comical at this point, honestly. With Aussie Ash and Spartan being all left alone. Look, things are not looking particularly too favorable. Some more shots being exchanged. Aussie Ash not really feeling particularly too healthy there, but Time Fly does get taken down. And Spartan actually on a double, absolutely on a ripper, and actually could be taken down. I say that's a fuser drop.
Both players hiding in Armory. All they have to do is that, but whether or not the Reds can be done, the bulletproof camera giving the position away. The swing on round for the main breach was actually opened up by the defense, and Warriors able to clean up those final 2 kills. Another round for them goes in their favor on Oregon. We are waiting for the reconnect, obviously, still from the RDC player that unfortunately left as Psycho in that round. So, in saying such, RDC actually got it really, really close. I've noticed as well that RDC get a lot of kills on these flank plays. I mean, double window vault in there. We saw Spartan pick up 2 on the A's because Warriors are just not paying attention. They haven't got the eyes available to hold on to every angle, you know, conceivable. And in saying such, really good work by RDC. Unfortunately, couldn't make it a conversion. But in trying, I mean, getting it down to a 2v2 from a 4v2 is really commendable. So, and with a player down off the board, by the way. So, take that as you will going forward. But yeah, we are going to wait for Psycho's reconnect and we'll get back into it. But yeah, Cthulhu so far from Oregon Warriors, what are we thinking? I mean, it's been all right, but RDC have definitely been close on the heels.
Yeah, look, RDC still managing to keep pushing that sort of envelope in their favor. Has been actually looking pretty solid overall. It's a decent effort, and I think the main kind of issue on the side of Warriors is the fact that they are not per se expecting the abundance of those kind of odd plays that have been coming out from RDC. I mean, that jump in, I believe it was actually through the kids window. Correct me if I'm wrong, by Spartan.
Maybe.
And that double kill and that very aggressive push rather than a very kind of paced down play, something that didn't look like they were very much prepared for, that kind of thing. So it feels that going into some of these rounds, they are expecting it to be played out in a very same way, in a similar way how Warriors would play, but that almost experience gap seems to be playing up quite big.
Yeah, I mean, either way, the vault in from wherever netted 2 kills, and it was a phenomenal effort, albeit. Here we are, Cthulhu, 3rd round, looking for the flawless site rotation for Warriors. Kitchen Meeting being their tertiary pick here on Oregon, which, you know, you can't really fault it too much. Great bomb site, especially when played correctly, and I'd imagine we will see that from Warriors. In saying that, though, RDC have already surprised us once this evening, so I'm not going to put anything past them at this point going forward into these next few rounds. But with Psycho returning, putting her back on the Mouse 1 meta operator, hopefully we can see that convert into some frags, because RDC definitely need these opening picks to start finding some of these rounds, because if they let Warriors get... Well, actually, I say that. it was a 5-1 that Warriors had, and they didn't win that. So take it as you will at this point.
Exactly. Well, at a face value, so far, Warriors seeming to be a little bit more confident in how they play and how they perform and what they are bringing to the table as well. And that's something that is worth noting, is just the fact that for RDC, they've actually switched things around a little bit, started introducing a little bit more of that bit more complicated utility usage, where they're now bringing in the OSA, they're bringing in the gridlock. Sorry, I nearly blanked out there. But how viable is that gridlock, say, instead of being brought something as like a nomad even?
That's a shame. That is a shame. Aussie to find that kill, but the aggression from Mystique, very well done to find the trade at least. Now, they have themselves set up for a really good plant here. Crips is the only person that can attempt to deny that at the moment. In saying such, though, they do have split control. They do have Z control. Sav's going to find another from inside of that position. And now with Psycho taking down Crips T, things are looking good to get this bomb down. A triple kill for Mystique as well from inside of Zulu. It's all up to time to fire the bomb going down. A 1 versus 4. It's going to have to be a feat of some insane Rainbow Six gameplay. The Jaeger good for 1. Can she find any more, but caught on the rotate and the reload? Psycho on her return will find 2. And RDC are going to find that 3rd round.
Well, RDC being able to return back to form relatively quickly. Certainly signs that, well, we're not out of this yet. Matter of fact, still very much far from that very case. Question being is, how much of those rounds will they be able to take away from their opponents, given just the sheer, magnitude of the situation this year, situation itself, and whether, well, Warriors will be unable to find any further openings, because the openings is where they were able to flourish, and that kind of doubling down on those reswings, I think for Warriors, they need to start leaning a little bit harder into the idea of, hey, we need to play a little bit more kind of calmer, a little bit more paced down with our play, because the way how things been going, it's not the organized Warriors that we've so grown accustomed to see, and it's just kind of more so just the frag hungry kind of play that has been kind of very dominant in this sort of play.
I mean, if I'm being completely honest, Radical have been scary tonight. It's a completely different team with the same players. And whether or not that is, they've done a boot camp-esque, week of stratting for their game or whatever they have done has definitely been a drastic improvement in their playstyle against this team. And even if it is only a Warriors-specific thing that they've been doing in terms of counter-stratting and everything like that, it has been paying off for them. I mean, we've got such more aggression from them. They've been taking entries really quickly, like we're seeing here from Psycho. And they have been playing really well into these roam clears and roams when they are on the defense side. But I mean, look at this. 40 seconds gone. They already have full west side control. They're dictating that the top floor is clear. They've got everything set up here to make their way onto the 2nd floor. And it's amazing to see it happening like it is.
Yeah, the way how it was done, the way how it was conducted was absolutely admirable from RDC, but losing Mapes is not particularly what you want to have happen to you as a RDC member, as an RDC fan. So, possibilities are certainly still there to be absolutely shut down in any impossible shape and form, but Type of Pi being tagged up to all hell, we could be seeing that return to form later down the line. Early shutdowns are going to be absolutely crucial here, so one would be rather curious to see how far can this be absolutely taken. Because RDC, they're still at a round down, and it still could be all Warriors to completely shut it all down and run away.
Yeah, it's also a very pattern sort of thing for Oregon as well. If you can find the momentum on the defense side, you pretty much have a relatively easy time making it happen elsewhere in the rest of that matchup. But in saying this, RDC setting themselves up for the execute, top main freezer pinch, and Warriors have definitely got themselves positioned for such an execute. A player on highway, one in freezer, one close on the A chassis. Things are about to spice up. 40 seconds, the first of 3 smokes to come out. The last of the line scans, and it is going to be the push on to the bomb site Cthulhu. 30 seconds in play. Can RDC make it happen?
RDC do in fact make it happen. Well, the push is already there, and well, hopes and dreams of finding yet another round are certainly still there. 25 seconds remaining. We are looking to go in for the full send. Psycho looking to try to approach her play here with absolute thorough approach as Spartan gets the better of Soy on the flank play, and this could actually throw a huge spanner in the works. I say that though, complete rotation is there. Perfect read as Aussie is there to find her own refrag. It's all down to Psycho.
And being the thinker, the self-res option was available. Sav and Crips T finishing things off. And again, Warriors, it came close, it really did, but the trades went in favour of the Vodafone Warriors, and they come out on top. RDC, unfortunately, couldn't make it happen in the end round there, but the start of that round was really, really good. I mean, losing Meeps early on, that was really the only downside to that take. But in premise, their initial sort of push on through that Showers Hall side, small tower, top floor, was a really, really quick, concise take. And it put them in a really good position to set up for that round. Unfortunately, they didn't have open what they required. They didn't get enough pressure onto that freezer wall to clear that player out of that A chassis, and obviously having the smokes to deal with as well. Unfortunately, not the best situation for them to be in that end round. But in saying so, they did a really good job on that round. So 1-3 is definitely not something to sort of take badly on this first 4 rounds, especially due to the fact that this is where we saw Warriors on Villa and then RDC came back to 3-3. So if history repeats itself, you never know. Anything could happen for RDC at the moment.
Yeah, but keep in mind, this is this time a side flip for that storyline as well.
It is,
Warriors kind of being quite rather dominant on the defense. Now, we've seen an attempt from defense of RDC, and it was unfortunately not particularly too great, at least on Villa. Once things did go down to the attack, though, now that was a completely different thing. So, assuming that, well, Radical Rebels will try to push this to a 3-3 scoreline to make it as comfortable as it can be. But with the way how Warriors been performing, and with the way how they've been able to kind of read into this map specifically, it kind of leaves a little bit more faith now in their favor, albeit, RDC, the way how they've handled themselves was just an absolutely phenomenal play, especially on Villa. Something to be absolutely commended about. And, well, round 5 is here already, first minute already completely extinguished, and no actual big engagements to be found yet.
No, nothing notable really, other than maybe the odd spot here or there. As we say this, Meeps does go down somehow, somewhere. Oh, fell off the roof. I was about to say, there's no Capcan, there's no Frost match. She was Finker Resed, and she fell off the roof. There you go. Unfortunate there. A lot of HP lost for nothing gained. But at the end of the day, if you're a Warriors fan, you take those. However, 1 minute and 30 seconds Cthulhu left for RDC to play with. They have Attic open. They have a player on the kids window to clear the shield out. The nade will connect indeed. No one actually in kids right now. So, not actually too much site presence at all for the Warriors saying this. 2 players really, the only 2 directly on site, everyone else lurking around. So it's shaping up to be interesting on RDC's part here for the execute.
Yeah, I'm actually very much curious how will RDC be able to play here and, well, cope and everything, but as it stands, might be seeing, and interestingly enough, a push between the window of the kids' bedroom and the double window as well. So, take it as how you want it, at least for now, but RDC putting plentiful amount of pressure, but that does generate quite a fair bit of working room for Warriors to move around on the other ends of the site itself.
30 seconds. Spartan and Psycho find one each very quickly. RDC turn it in their favor. They've jumped on into the site. yet to start getting the bomb down. Crips T takes a lot of damage, can't find the frag. The bomb being planted as well. Soy can't land the shots initially onto the player inside of Attic. Meeps to find Aussie, and very quickly a 1 versus 5. Can she get any? It's a flawless round from RDC. 2-3. Cthulhu.
Just what?
Yeah, it's... I don't even know what's happening anymore from Warriors.
Yeah, Warriors kind of almost feel like now a husk of their old fame with the way how things been going down. It's not been a pretty sign and sight of them. Apart from a pretty decent closure of bank, everything else been kind of just, yeah, look, left as kind of the forethought rather than
Locate and defuse
an actual tangible kind of idea to play around.
I mean,
It feels weird
yeah.
to say that
does. It
amidst
really does.
all this chaos.
It's this has been one of the most intriguing games I think we've seen for this season alone. This series, rather, should I say, has been an insane point to how much these teams have improved across this season. RDC, while they currently sit in 4th seed, they made it into playoffs,
5 seconds.
are currently going toe-to-toe with the top seed, 2 seasons currently in a row undefeated team. And they are going toe-to-toe for 3 maps with this team. It highlights how much work has gone in, how much improvement has been made by these teams and players individually. I mean, it is an absolute pleasure to see it all come to fruition here for them.
Yeah, huge performance so far it's been from them, and it's, yeah, look, great to see that we finally do have that sort of contesting, or rather, that contention to come out from at least one of the teams, but it is also kind of almost weird to see how much of a stark difference it makes once you do get that sort of a, I suppose you could call it a match game between the two rosters, but look, congratulations so far. I mean, whilst it's far from being over yet, and now that we will be finding that sort of answer anytime soon, but I mean, man, it was a nuts game so far from between these two teams, and the way how probably namely I would say Psycho and Meeps as well as Mystique, that trio has been working out. It's been noteworthy.
It has, it really has. I mean, their individual plays for their team have really carried them to where they currently sit in this best of 3. But in saying that, Warriors still hold on. They're not quite out just yet. They are in the lead currently. Whether or not that accounts to much going into the second half is another question. But look, there's 1 minute and 10 seconds left. RDC is setting up for a very similar push. Warriors should know this by now. Hopefully they can make the required changes. We do see some positional shifts going on inside of the site, but in terms of RDC, it rotates all around. They might even be gearing up for another flank through the main side here.
Absolutely. Oh, already another E1D coming around. Not really a whole lot of counterplay really coming in, as once again that presence around those kids windows has been basically a menace to really deal with, and look, problems galore. Not really finding a whole lot of answers either for the team of Warriors, as RDC just continuing to chug on along. I say that though, Mapes does fall to the hands of Time for Pie yet again.
Downstairs, good kill to find. Provided there's only 30 seconds left in play, RDC are going to have to make their push onto the site. E1D to pair it. However, Soy to open things up onto Spartan, vaulting in through the window into Attic is going to be taken down. Now it's a 3 versus 5 with only 15 seconds left. The vault in through the double window. Mystique's going to actually make it deep to start getting this diffuser down. The cover from the main double window. Aussie Ash from behind will take down one, but Soy's there. Time for Pie will push forward onto the window and knifes the diffuser. A lovely headshot drive-by on that player covering, and then to take down the planter as well. Vodafone Warriors are going to secure the 4-2 half. But now they go onto the attack, Cthulhu. And this is where RDC could make up lost ground.
Absolutely. Oh man, grueling run so far, but it's one that has been kind of telling us just a grand story as it stands between these two rosters. It's been just a phenomenal kind of time, phenomenal storyline, and
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs.
4-2, whilst yeah, it was a hard fought so far first half, does set us up with yet another buffer that we've seen again and again. Now, main question being is how well is Radical Rebels defense is going into the second half, because no more we have all those talks and thoughts about, oh yes, we are going to see the reverse sweep. No more. All maps have been already taken, all maps have been already played out. This is the end game.
This is it.
5 seconds to go.
This is the end for one team's run into the top bracket. Because, I mean, there is, no, as you said, this is it. This is the end of the line. There is no more second chances. After this, obviously the losing team will go down into the third, fourth playoff side of the grand finals, and the winning team will go off for their chance at first or second. But it's going to be interesting as to how this plays out. The run out from Meeps, though, some damage dealt. But at the end of the day, Soy comes out on top on the sledge. Unfortunate for Meeps, hasn't had the best game on Oregon. But, yeah. Hopefully the Capcan Mines can do something for her in post-mortem here, but you never know.
One would hope to see that,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that the Capcans will be able to bring any sort of big conclusion, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Meeps, with her being out of the equation, though, will make things a whole lot more difficult for RDC, because that's, well, one less players to play around with the side, and with Spartan now down as well, Aussie will be, well, progressing the storyline in favor of Warriors even further.
Bomb located by
Yeah, they've done well to find these two picks, but now with only half the round left, I say that, it's actually a lot of time. 2 picks in the first half of the round is a really good way to kick themselves off. I'd imagine the execute would be close behind. They've got themselves set up pretty well here to burn into the site. Sav's waiting for this player to peek on round from pit, but Psycho's not going to give them that frag just yet. They are going to opt for the peek here. She is mostly blinded, and there we go. Time for Pi to trade that one out. Takes that frag, walks away with it, and gets deep into Attic now. The nice shot as well from Psycho, leaving only 2 players alive. From RDC to hold on, Mystique will find one onto Sav through the main breach. The bomb now down, but with only a minute left to play. They have the knowledge of these 2 players. They're going to have to start util dumping to clear them out.
Exactly. Well, with Mystique out of the equation, it's all down to Aussie Ash. Whilst the Aussie off on Hibana has been down, yeah, there we go. It's very confident set of swings from Warriors to result in a very clean take. And then, look, yeah, it seems like maybe attack has been kind of the big decider, and this is where kind of the pace has been forged. And oh, look, I mean, all the congratulations and salutations to Warriors for their comeback, but with this kind of performance, this begs for a question. Well, if they would have played the same way how they do right here on Villa, Oregon wouldn't have happened.
True, it would have. But in saying that as well, Cthulhu, I know I like that term. But if you look at it, imagine that this was Vertex tonight instead of RDC. I reckon that we could have seen the Warriors' undefeated streak ended here, but we delved too much into it with no merit at the end of the day. Obviously, that isn't the matchup, and RDC are the team that is here right now doing the hard work and putting a huge dent in what Warriors have sort of been providing for the whole season. And yes, it's 5-2 currently, but as we've already mentioned, it was 5-1 at the half of Villa, and RDC walked away with it. So we cannot count them out yet at all, especially with Sav doing something like that.
Sav! How does this keeps on happening as well?
It's one apiece now, it's fair.
I suppose so, yeah. Oh man. Oh boy. Oh man. It's just it's been all over the place, honestly. And feels rather weird, and like stating it the way it is just, yeah, look, it's been kind of just all over the place, all over the town, and I'm curious if Warriors will even be able to, bring this back still at a player deficit. Given that Meeps already got the better of Crips T as well.
Warriors, what has happened at the start of this round? The TK leading into the early frag for RDC on the bottom floor. Aussie yet to actually come out of spawn will now make her way forward to attempt to rejoin her teammates, who have only taken into that end of shower hall. That is it. That is all the control that Warriors have currently to their name for a bottom floor take. They do still have one player on the top floor, that being Psycho, who, as we've already highlighted, has been one of the sort of big players for RDC at the moment, paired with Meeps, both on the roam. But I mean, it's not like Warriors are interested, it seems. They're just going to leave this roam to its own devices.
Absolutely seems that way. Weird how it kind of happened the way how it did, but suppose this is that's the way the cookie crumbles. And well, still 57 seconds remaining. We might see some sort of a comeback happen, but it needs to be off the back of a very coordinated response and very coordinated push. But apart from that, nothing else is there in the hands of Warriors. 38 seconds to go. They need to make some sort of a play, some sort of a push, but it's a very disconnected one at best.
We've got 3 players left, 3 arguably gunners on the board, and saying Psycho from above is going to take down Soy on the main stairs. It's going to leave things up to Aussie and Sav inside of Freeze to fight their way through 5 players still alive. Sav will find a lovely shot onto the first, but the flank to come out from above is going to prove to be a bit of an issue. Aussie will find one as well, though the site now forfeit. And here we go, Sav holding for the flank. The bomb needs to go down, but looks away just at the wrong time. Meeps to drop and find the kill. The bomb needs to go down. Aussie will be able to start planting that diffuser, but Aussie Ash is going to run on round and finish things off. RDC, they're going to walk away with that round.
Frodo, I hate to be the bringer of the bad news, but I think it's starting again. We're on 5th point.
Yeah.
Again.
It is. Oh, Cthulhu.
Yeah.
Scared. Sacred. Fair enough. Understandable. Have a nice day.
Sacred, scared. At this point, we're getting to the later end of the night.
The latter of
understandably. Yeah.
It's understandable.
It's understandable indeed. Yeah, look, but in saying all of that, I do have to say that, well, firstly, the TK did certainly play rather heavily into the end result of the team, and of the result that Warriors all ended up losing out and completely flogging their sort of performance. The other thing to really worth noting is the idea that, well, Warriors kind of allowed the sort of roam play to happen basically scot-free.
5 seconds left before insertion.
Yeah, they did sort of let it go to that degree, but look, Cthulhu, it's... If history is to repeat itself, RDC, they're going to equalise and then put themselves back in the game here to some point of contention. But Warriors, they've had their chance to sort of have that little bit of a break between that map, sort themselves out to some degree, and get back into it. They do have the ability to play top floor here again, which is where they were a little bit more comfortable, but Meeps is going to find Soy, I believe, on the main stairs, possibly? Somewhere? Down in garage? Main lobby? I don't even know where that kill happened. But a kill it is nonetheless in favour of RDC, so not great for Warriors.
Yeah, not great at all. Yeah, with Soy being that sledge player, she would have been a big influencer onto the way how the battle would have been played out, but alas, it is what it is. what happened, and what's done is done. But we are looking at a possibility of yet another very almost weird round about to happen, given the gravity, given the situation of it all. There are certain possibilities to be played out, and Warriors, I mean, they still have the positions and the utility to make it work, but again, it's very much depending on the fact how much will Radical Rebels basically will throw, because they have the ball in their hands momentum-wise.
They do indeed, Cthulhu. They have all the control that they need on top of the site to make it happen, as well as the frags now. But as we were mentioning, Spartan on the flank will find one, but Aussie is there to at least find onto Spartan, with Crips now taking down Meeps as well. The flank called out on the drone. This is great for Warriors. 50 seconds left is plenty of time to play with here. Trying to push through that attic main side. They want to get this pinch down onto the site, but this position from Mystique and Psycho, we've seen it already once implemented by RDC in an attempt to hold on. Time for Pi takes a lot of damage. Can she find the opening kill? She will actually go down. Mystique takes a lot of damage. It's only 30 seconds left. This is very doable for RDC in the position, but Aussie's there to find one. Psycho to trade onto Aussie. And now it's a 1 versus 1. Crips T will be able to get the res and make it a 1 versus 2. But Psycho with the swing will find time for Pi. Crips T now in an official 1v1. Diffuser not in her possession. Psycho with the position has the ability to play time. 15 seconds. Crips has to pick what she wants to go for. It's going to have to be the gunfight. Not looking the right way. He's going to pre-fire the wrong thing. Psycho from behind is going to win a 1v3 for RDC. What an insane round from the defense.
Oh my lord. Absolutely insane play there, and well... Oh, Radical Rebels back at it again with the comebacks, it seems. Absolutely nuts on all of those plays, insane on their performance, insane on, well, keeping this sort of scoreline, and, well, what can be done here, really, with the way how it's all been developing. It's not looking particularly too favorable here for either of the parties, which is probably the most scariest part of it all. Because, yes, we have RDC on a comeback train. Yes, we have Warriors still having that one-round buffer. Well, what can be done here?
Oh, I don't know at this point, Cthulhu. It's RDC are just so strong on defense on this map. It seems they keep winning these, 2v4s, 2v3s, 1v3s, and it's just like how, it is crazy that it keeps happening to Warriors. But I mean, we saw it happen to the Von Villa, and I mean, unsurprisingly enough, at the moment, it's happening again, or at least it looks like it's happening again on Oregon. A map where, keep in mind, the last time these two teams versed each other was a 7-0 to Warriors.
Indeed it is, yeah, look. Scary time, scary prospects. Just all not looking particularly too favorable here for the two teams, two rosters, hoping to find their, those one way opium. Certainly there, but Roman's certainly been very much kind of just all over the shop, all over the place. And well, round number 10 will be possibly either bringing us the match point for Warriors, or well, a 5-5 scoreline with Radicals, Rebels being able to equalize the scoreline, which could be rather big. Spartan this time bringing in the Capcan. Curious whether anyone will even be able to run into any of those Capcan traps, as it seems, well, Sav actually just did pull it out with her body, the whole position, and look at the whole hallway of the whole kitchen hallway is there, just sprayed with all those track stingers. Unfortunately, the C4 is no longer also in a working condition, but the gunfights are about to be even scarier.
Oh, unfortunate for Spartan. Had the play there, but time to buy sharp on it, was able to deal with the issue and rectify the problem. But the issue that we face right now here... Oh! Soy put to sleep. Meets with the GN on the T5. What a shot through the Maverick holes upstairs. That's going to make things a lot harder for Warriors to get the bomb down here, especially with that upstairs presence still viable for RDC.
Absolutely, yeah. RDC just continuing to be that one step ahead, whilst the Warriors are just kind of all over the shop, really. Another pixel position, if Meep spots it, if Meep sees it, oh, it's going to be dangerous, oh, it's going to be scary, oh, this is going to be bad here as well for the Maverick. The push needs to happen as well. I mean, look, it's only at 30 seconds, once again, the plant is starting to go down.
Aussie is getting that bomb down. Psycho needs to get close with a nitro or something to deny. She's not going to get out, but the bomb has been planted, and it's now a retake. Crips will find Meeps upstairs, but Mystique to find Sav on the main breach. Nitro to follow. Isn't going to connect. Time for Pie with a free fire. Isn't going to find the player Greenhall, but she is going to find the player close stage. Psycho to go down. Super Shorty in hand. Tries to deny the push, but they're not going to aggress down green because of the track stingers. Mystique now the only player close to the bomb in an attempt to find this player in green. Will be heard. The position given away. The Super Shorty doesn't win out, but from above, Crips T to deny Mystique. And now it's all up to Aussie Ash to make something happen, but with positional advantage, Crips doesn't need to peek. She just needs to wait. And now, if she can shoot, time is in her favor. Doesn't matter at the end of the day. Kills are kills, but Warriors are going to win the round nonetheless.
Oh, well, I was scarily close there for Warriors, but they do manage to lock out the match point for themselves. All done and dusted. But anyway, curious what will be kind of the conclusive play, conclusive result, because well, this could be the very round where we could see Vodafone Warriors completely finally all lock it all out, or whether it is going to be a continuation of the whole comeback story from Radical Rebels, as well, they managed to show us on Villa they were a scary force.
Villa was, I don't even know, Villa was an interesting map. One of the most interesting maps that I have seen in the Women's League so far. One that completely shocked me in terms of the score at the end. I mean, RDC, it was an absolutely phenomenal performance from them. But here we are, map number 3, currently match point for Warriors. Whether or not that is dictating on this map ending here is a completely different question. Again, RDC got it down to a 1v1 kill. I mean, I don't know at this point, but it's something that we're going to have to find out. I mean, it is really anyone's game at this point still, until one team eventually walks away with it.
Certainly possibilities of it all. I'm curious about the setup of the Ying, because this is looking to be like a rush strat here. Proto, do we see Warriors to wrap it all up in a very explosive manner? Certainly looks like it.
I think that might be the play. Yeah, it is definitely going to be the play. Gone 6 to come out. Zoth to burn with the line as well. Candela's to come deep into blue. The smoke's going to follow, but Spartan is going to get the first kills. About to go down. Warriors may have made a big mistake trying to force through blue. 2 to go down. Crips T falls as well. The smoke, but it's going to be the mouse one. Meta to walk down. A third down, but not confirmed for the smoke. This is huge because now the Warriors are going to have to play the catch-up game. They have to res 2 people, at least play for a trade pick back and forth, but they're all inside of blue in really bad positions. One player deep on the breach. They are going to be able to get Crips T back up, but they only got a 1-for-1 trade on the entry there. What a shutdown from RDC, but the round is not over. They might have low HP. They still are available to shoot blue. Anything can happen at this point, but it's so much more high stakes now.
Absolutely is. The stakes have certainly been raised to the absolute maximum here, Proto. We certainly could be seeing a rather dangerous time to happen for well, both Warriors and RDC. Certainly could see ourselves, well, continue this whole storyline. Yeah, look, Sawyer does manage to find a frag herself, looking rather promising. Maybe later down the line, well, certain turnouts could could have happened completely different. But being able to scrape this sort of scoreline, this is actually looking to be a little bit more workable. Soy actually on a double. All of a sudden, Mystique is the last player standing.
Warriors have turned it round. They've managed to make something of their situation. They now need to go for the bomb plant. Aussie is going to be the player to start putting that bomb down. Soy there for the body block. He's going to be Mystique creeping on up to try and find the diffuser, but the bomb has gone down. The swing on round. Soy Warriors, they're going to make it happen after a rocky middle. They managed to close things out here on Oregon. We're not going to continue on to OT, and RDC, unfortunately, while the effort was there, are not going to take away the unbeaten streak. Warriors stand strong and cement themselves the first spot in the upper bracket playoffs for the grand final.
Yeah. Well, that's all she wrote. Really great match. Congratulations to Warriors. After an absolute slugfest, we are finally back to, well, what feels, or rather what we expected to be the norm. But look, it was an absolutely banger of a performance from RDC. Unfortunate that, well, the maximum place now that is guaranteed to him is going to be the third place. But look, congratulations in all. It was quite an interesting matchup, to say the very least. But what a way to wrap it all up, I suppose.
It's been an insane game for this evening. Now, very quickly, I'm just going to mention we do have interviews to come. We're going to do a little bit of a breakdown and then go to a break, but we do have interviews, so don't go anywhere just yet. But I mean, yeah, what a series! I mean, RDC to show up like that. I mean, on game day, what a turnout from them to take it to 3 maps against NZ Warriors. I mean, what a showing. It just, again, highlights how much of an improvement that we see from all these girls as the seasons progress. I mean, it is just Siege at its finest.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Look, I mean, we've been talking about the whole idea that RDC will be the team that has immense amount of potential. And certainly that potential has been tapped into rather thoroughly today. But look, unfortunately, just not enough to completely score the win in a BO3, but it was getting rather close. So, look, mad props to RDC. And, well, their run is far from being over just yet.
Yeah, third place in a top 4 spot is definitely nothing to frown upon, especially out of a set of 8 teams. So there's that to take away. They still have a chance to obviously play for third place. Warriors, they're going to get their chance to secure their first and remain undefeated for 2 full seasons. But obviously that is to come later on. Albeit, speaking of later on, we will return very, very shortly with the interviews from both of these teams. So don't go anywhere. We'll organise that right now, and then we will return. Maybe. Here we go.
Watch me now. Watch me now. Watch me now. Everybody talk. I just get it done. Everybody talk. I just get it done.
Well, we've had our short little break. We do have our interviewees here in the booth with us. First off is going to be a quick chat with a couple of members from the Warriors roster. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Crips T and Aussie Princess to the broadcast. First of all, obviously, congratulations is in order. So there's that. But yeah, first question, I guess. We'll start off strong. What happened on Villa?
Oh, Katie?
It was I think we wanted to keep it. Look, Psycho asked for a third map. I think we had to give it to them.
Yeah, so, we said yes to the third map, so we had to do it.
But credit to them. Like honestly, we went 5-1 up on attack, and I think we got a little bit lax and didn't tighten up our defenses. But credit to them taking full advantage of what we'd done wrong. It was a really good map, but at the end of the day, like at the end of the map, we'll find like Spirits well, it's fine. And we took Oregon. I think it showed in Oregon we were fine. But yeah, once again, full credit to RDC for it.
Yeah, you guys played awesome.
Squizzy. I was muted actually apparently on VMix. There we go. Professional caster, by the way. But honestly, look on Oregon, because a number of rounds have been quite dicey against the RDC. Was it just kind of sort of the fatigue starting in, or just was it just the fact that they were a little bit unpredictable on some of their swings and plays, especially? I mean, the on a couple of rounds on offense where they just out of nowhere just have a person just pushing in, say, the double window, getting that double kill in the Kids Dom's defense, or just was it difficult to adjust to their kind of almost unpredictable playstyle, or was it just more so kind of a matter of time?
I think we were just making mistakes, pretty common, easy fix mistakes that we did and managed to fix up for the other rounds. I think they saw an opportunity and they went straight for it. I don't know. I whiffed a lot on smoke for dorms. I don't know if that was caught, but that was bad. But they honestly, they just saw an opportunity and they went straight for it. They did good.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you guys walk away with the dub, and it was great siege. I mean, as we were saying on the broadcast, it was one of the best series we've seen in a while. But before you guys head off for the evening, is there anything that either of you want to say to anyone in the stream, anyone team wise, anything before you go into the finals?
Yes, I would just like to thank Tui and Brennan for like all the late night help with me personally. We sit up at like 1 a.m. And go through. And I would like to thank Oda, Milo, Wet for their help for the countless hours and answering our questions at all kinds of times. For the admins, production, and casters for putting on Women's League every season. You guys, honestly, you work so hard and we really appreciate it. A massive thank you to my team. You guys, I have no words. I'm so proud of all of you and everything that you've done. You've all worked so hard. And thank you to Vodafone Warriors for looking after us for the last couple of seasons. We really appreciate it. We love you guys. Katie?
Yeah, I think Ozzy summed it up pretty well. I just added a couple of additional thank yous to my other team, AZ, Altazilius. Thank you to Banana. Thank you to Rice. Same with Oda, Tui, Brendan. They put a lot of effort and hours in. I can see Cthulhu laughing at Rice, but I think massive thank you to everyone.
Also laughing at Banana.
Yeah.
His cooking skills are still kind
of true. But like, just even thank you to the people that we get regular scrims against, like for example, the Nutty Boys, Nutty Academy, everything like that. They really help us out. They're really helpful in providing feedback and making us better. Also, like, thank you to the RDC girls as well, Psycho, and everyone. You guys played amazing. I think we played a really good game. I hope everyone in chat had a lot of fun with it. I am glad that we came away with a win, but at the end of the day, it was really good. So thank you for playing with us, I guess. Yeah, thank you.
There you go. I mean, hats off. Congratulations and good luck going into finals. Obviously, you got to keep that undefeated streak going. So good luck for your games next week and enjoy the rest of your evening. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
In saying this, Cthulhu, we do still have one more interview to do. We still have to talk to the girls from RDC. I believe we are getting Psycho and Mystique in. So we will see how long that is going to take. But we are going to cut to a very small break while we get them in, and we will be back momentarily. Well, again, we've had another short break and we have managed to get our second set of interviewees for this evening, RDC, and joining us on the desk from them, Psycho and Mystique. We'll jump right on over to that interview momentarily, and here we are. Ladies, welcome. First of all, congratulations. Very well done tonight. Unfortunately, not the dub, but at the end of the day, definitely a dint in the Warriors. Starting off straight away. What was the decision to pick Hank for Mat 1?
It came because we've actually been scrimming on it quite a lot recently. We had some new strats made by Wet, and they seem to be working for us in scrims. And it was Psycho actually pushed for it. It's one of her favorite maps, so that's where it came from.
Fair enough.
Call me out like that.
Hey, I mean, look, you girls managed to put quite a dent in the setup of Warriors, and it was still a pretty good map played out. But the big highlight, the Villa. Look, you've been posed with a 1-5 scoreline at the conclusion of the first half, and all of a sudden, well, OT is upon us. What was kind of the big turning point for you girls during the second map?
I think what happened on attack was like, just like, all right, we'll just rush first round and like see how we go. You know, we're almost game's almost over. We'll just give it a go, see how it goes, and it worked. And we're like, you know, this actually worked. Let's keep doing it. So we just pushed where the util wasn't, and there was like less players, so we took less gunfights to get to site. And I think that's just like we adapted really quickly with Warriors, so we just took advantage of the gaps in between sites. So we just took it. So, yeah.
Fair enough.
There you go. I mean, it worked. Here we are, map 3. I mean, you guys were asking for it from what, 6-2 at one point? You guys, come on, third map.
Yeah,
and we did get to Oregon, so
surely.
there's that. We did see Oregon.
I'm glad we went
Obviously,
there.
there's that. Yeah. It was a very good series, as we were saying throughout pretty much the whole cast. It was probably one of the best series we've seen in a while in a best of 3. In saying this, though, is there anything that you guys want to say? Anyone you want to thank? You've got that time now, so go for it.
Yeah, so we definitely want to thank our teammates. We love them so much. We're so close, all 5 of us. We want to thank our subs. We want to thank our organisation, Radical and Faded, and also our amazing coaches, Wet, who has like fully stepped in out of the blue and just helped us so much the last 3 or 4 weeks, and Demi as well. We just want to say thank you to everyone who supported us too.
Psycho?
Yeah. Oh, I was just gonna say, like, basically the same thing. When Wet came in, like, we were really struggling on like what we wanted to do, and he came in and helped us build our confidence up and our aggression. And huge thanks to him. And org, the girls, everyone that helped support us. So, yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, there you go. It's very nice words. So there you have it. RDC, thank you very much, girls, for coming in. Again, congratulations. Good luck in your game for the next games that you play for the end of the season. But other than that, very well done. It's been amazing to watch tonight.
Thanks so much, guys.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. RDC's perspective on Thing Cthulhu. What an amazing match this evening. A insane best of 3. And it went the full 9 yards. I mean, we're here. We've had fun. Cthulhu, what are your final thoughts for this evening?
Honestly, I'm excited. I'm happy that we got to see this kind of, a BO3. The fact that, well, finally we kind of got to see the idea that, well, the Titans that are warriors, well, they can bleed, and understandably so. Well, that Villa was quite something, to say the very least. So plenty now of VOD material about how to beat the Warriors, at least on one of the maps. And, well, for Warriors, they at least solidified themselves the grand finals. On the side of RDC, look, unfortunate what happened, and unfortunate that they couldn't lock it all out and in their favor, but look, still a contention for the 3rd place now is looking much more brighter. Albeit they would still have to battle against, I believe, the winner of was it Big Brain Esports versus Vertex?
Yes.
And that is going to be quite a heated battle, I would imagine, as well. So I'm curious to see how all this all work out. But look, yeah, congratulations to Warriors.
Enough said. Summed up perfectly. As we know, tomorrow there is going to be another game, so make sure you tune in. Same time, different casters, to watch Big Brain and Vertex duke it out to see who else is going to go into that grand final playoff. We obviously have the bracket here available. So semi-final 1, that's what we were on tonight. Warriors will commence onto that grand finals, and as we have just said, Vertex and Big Brain will be playing it out tomorrow. Same time, 7 p.m. AST, Blue Panda and Spadoom, bringing you the best of that one. Will then obviously decide the other teams for the other subsequent places left available. And I do believe, Cthulhu, that brings us to the end of our broadcast this evening.
Yeah,
and
the first playoffs day all wrapped up.
Done, locked in.
Pretty much.
And what an amazing game. But on top of this, Cthulhu, none of it would be available without
Hmm.
the lovely sponsors of the Women's League, none other than Ubisoft, obviously, Zowie as well, ZQ Racing and Computer Alliance. Thank you so much for providing everything, the prize pool, etc., for this tournament. I mean, we wouldn't be here without you guys. So we appreciate you more and more each day. On top of that, Cthulhu, final words.
Final words, look, I'm glad that we are getting this kind of huge progression, and the fact that we finally seeing those, the teams that we kept on talking for over multiple seasons that like, oh yes, they have potential, but we haven't really seen a whole lot of that big contention. It's always that one big behemoth team that usually claims the victory. Finally, teams like RDC starting to step up. I'm very much curious to see how will Vertex and BBE really play it out as well, because honestly, we're finally starting to see that top end contention finally starting to get closer and closer, and that skill gap being reduced more and more thoroughly.
Yeah, it's definitely shaping up to be an interesting set for the end of this season and going into the next season, provided how the rosters end up, etc., etc. But at the moment, for tonight, that is all she wrote. We are finished here for this evening. Don't forget, come back tomorrow to see how BBE Vertex goes. And other than that, it has been a monumental best of 3, and we've loved every second of it. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks once again, and we'll see you next time.
Watch me now.